my God.
Dude, you guys wanted to know how the weekend was. I wasn't going to bring it out until right when the show started.
Is that what you wore? Where'd you go to? Ultra?
I went to Ultra just for a day. I drove back right after. Like literally it ended and I drove back.
It ends at a time?
Doesn't it never end? What do you mean?
I mean, like, doesn't it go from like Thursday to Sunday and like there's no stop?
No, there is a stop for Ultra. It's not one of those sleepover type deals. Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to FT Live on a Monday, opening week of Major League Baseball season coming up on Thursday. And for anyone that is not viewing the screen right now, we have a pretty big podcast audience at this point. I'm wearing Rafe glasses in honor of AJ Pierzynski and Erik Kratz. They wished that they could have attended Ultra, but they could not be there for family reasons.
Do I, though?
I was there on Saturday. Anyway.
Do I wish,
wait,
though?
before
Kratz,
anything else.
Do you wish that you attended this thing?
There wasn't 1 second in my weekend where I was like, man, other than I thought about Ultra just to make sure my guy Scotty was okay. Just
I'm
to
great.
Make sure your
I was more than okay.
ringing.
I was more than okay. I actually didn't even have many adult
Is your arm
beverages.
sore
from fist bumping? No, calves are a little sore from jumping.
Oh,
a lot of jumping. Is that your move?
Yeah, a lot of jumping. Yeah,
a lot of sweating.
No, I'm not a big sweat guy. No, and actually, Orlando was like 10 plus degrees hotter than it was in Miami. You know, you leave same day, it's 90 something here, and Miami was like, and you're on the water. It was like 80 degrees, little cool breeze going. It was perfection there. So had a good time. Clearly, I'm fine. I made it. I'm good.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to do though,
you know what the best part was?
What?
You weren't here all weekend.
I wasn't in your home
here.
Yeah,
all weekend.
Well, that's because everything's staying intact. I've pretty much got this place put together. There's big news to announce coming up on Thursday.
You're leaving?
You're going to wear those glasses?
You want me to? I might. Big news on Thursday, which is opening day.
Oh yeah.
There is a fresh time, and we're going to say it every single day. So in addition to your whole subscribe and follow AJ, what time should people be joining us starting on Thursday live on YouTube?
1 o'clock Eastern.
1 o'clock Eastern time.
Dang
1 to 3 to accommodate the schedules of our guests, players, managers, etc. Plus, a little later in the day is actually better for most. Not for AJ because he's a morning person, but for most, it is a better time slot.
No, actually 1 o'clock works better for me.
Really?
Yeah, because then I can get up. If I want to go play golf, I can get it done before.
Yep.
Or if I want to do anything else, but otherwise now, like, the whole day is ruined 11 to 1. I mean, let's be serious here. Like, 11, I can't get up and do anything before because we have the pre-show at 9:30. And then 1 o'clock, and then it's time to go to practice after school. So there's really not a lot of time.
So are we going to have a lot of production meetings from the golf course? Is that going to be the situation?
There might be a couple.
Here?
There might be a few, yeah.
That's okay. As long as you have good service, we're okay with it.
As long
I'll
as you
speak
can,
for the behind-the-scenes crew.
as long as, it's just a Zoom call. I mean, you can hear me.
Yes, as long as we can hear you. We don't need to see you. We see you plenty. Kratzy, how was your weekend?
Oh, fantastic. I had so many plans for Saturday, and then it rained. So I went to Costco.
Oh, Costco on a Saturday is never a good idea.
That's not the move.
It was definitely right? it was definitely not it, but it was we got there. Didn't know. I thought Costco always opened at 10 o'clock. And I'm like a Costco, like I live at Costco. That's what I live and die on. But I got there at 9:30 because we had an eye appointment, an eye doctor, which it's not a bad idea. Judy Wu, she's great in the eye department. But
she's a doctor and she's the writer we're having on later?
No.
Yep. That's Katie. This is Judy.
Yes, Katie Wu of the St. Louis Cardinals beat for The Athletic joining us. She does a great job covering St. Louis. Very relevant guest today. Jordan Walker, called up by the St. Louis Cardinals. He's going to be there for opening day. In my mind, he's the top prospect in the sport. Katie will talk about it. Other side, Anthony Volpe, as heard previously on Foul Territory a couple weeks ago. I mean, he didn't say it, though. But anyway,
he said it without saying it. We're going to show the clip.
Jose Trevino, catcher, all-star catcher, platinum glover, going to join us all season long. He'll talk about it with us. He's going to join us in about 5 minutes. Go ahead.
He said it.
Who?
Aaron Boone said it on our show. We first reported it. So when I see all these, people, when we have Ken Rosenthal on this week, I'm going to yell at him too because I heard him on Friday trying to badmouth me. So I'm going to put that little fella in his place when I talk to him on, I think, tomorrow. But second of all, when all these people were reporting this, We had it first.
I don't think we had it first.
Claudia, can we show the clip, please? Because we had it first. At least I had it first. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
So Volpe's very much in the running, to be on the team on opening day. So we got 2 more weeks to go here. Those conversations will start to happen in earnest. He's played awesome. He's come in with obviously one of the big stories of this camp and gone out and delivered and performed and, kind of looked like everything we, expect and get excited about him being. So he's very much in the running.
Booney, here's the thing. What I've learned from this interview is IKF is going to be your utility guy. Volpe is making the team. So we're breaking news here.
I didn't say that.
I know, but
he's very much in the running.
Manager talk. We got it. And then third thing is John Schneider. See? Manager talk, Kratzy. You've been there. I've been in those managers' meetings where they give you the old, well, you're in the running, but, well, we're going to wait and see. Bull crap. They knew. He knew.
They knew.
Read his face. Read his face. You can't see it on the podcast, but read his face.
I like his eyes. He gave like the side eye. Like when he heard me say that, he's like, I don't want to say it, but I so want to say it.
They got to wait till the end of camp.
They knew. That's what he knew. How could they keep him? First of all,
that was 11 days ago too.
But between his performance, which was great, and then the clamoring of the Yankee fans. I mean, not the organization.
Yeah, but they don't give a shit.
Yes, they do. They don't, but they do. Trust me. They don't, but they do. They have to. Every team cares. You don't think moves have been made in the history of Major League Baseball because fans bitch and moan about stuff?
Of course they have, but that doesn't mean every decision is made
that
way.
Not every decision.
How about Chris Bryant years ago, for example, when he is the best hitter in spring training for a month, and they're like, not good enough. Now, part of this is the new rule that gives you a first-round pick, especially for a team like the Yankees, where they don't get to pick at the top of the draft like ever. So to get another pick towards the back end of the first round, that would be a huge win. Now that's based on Rookie of the Year finishers. But if Anthony Volpe has a big season, he pays dividends for the Yankees in multiple ways.
There's different ways too to look at this. Like they brought in IKF last year, and I think there's a little bit of a split with the Yankees in the sense that in the front office, and I'm not saying Cashman, I'm saying like more analytically, they have a lot more power to make moves, and they bring in a guy like IKF who wasn't awful statistically, and so the people who bring him in, statistically, I'm on board with you, AJ. But
offensively, he was not very good.
I'm telling you, from a statistical standpoint, they see the value. And and as well as anybody, even before analytics, if there is somebody in a corner for a guy that's pushing and pushing and pushing, they're going to manipulate different numbers and say, oh, this is our guy. This is our guy. I traded for him. Look at what happened with Glaber. They just kept playing him at shortstop 2 years ago, and it was not going well. And they just continued to push it until they finally, and it came out that they needed to have somebody else step in there at shortstop because he had no range. He wasn't able to make the plays that needed to be made as a big league shortstop. And the same thing was kind of happening with IKF. So I think there was more internal turmoil than, just Booney being like, wow, he did a great job. He hit 314 in camp and he made the team. There's a lot more going on there.
Well, but here's the thing. Glaber, couldn't hit as a shortstop either. There was too much on him. And then IKF came in and, I know I think he won a Gold Glove at third, right? And they were like, we can make him a shortstop when they got him over there. Well, he couldn't perform either. It's a different animal, man, when you're in New York and you're the starting shortstop for the New York. Ask Didi Gregorius, who had to do it after Derek Jeter. The real question for me is, can Volpe become the next Derek Jeter? Is he the next Derek Jeter? Because all the comparisons are Derek Jeter, right? The age difference, the youngest guy since Derek Jeter to start. And then you see things like this with his family. I mean, this is pretty cool right here. Your family's in the dugout. You give mom and dad and everybody a hug and say, I made the opening day Yankees roster.
It was well, I mean, that's so awesome. To me, it's less about what he does physically. Yes, he's got to play, but everybody's got to play or you get sent to the bushes. Like, it's about how, what's his makeup, and the organization's, got front and center examples of what kind of makeup he has and if they think he's going to be a guy that can do that.
No, but that's the thing. Can he be the next Derek Jeter?
Doesn't
By
have
the
to
way,
be
I don't
next
want to hear
Derek
either.
Jeter.
Here's my other thing. Here's my other thing that annoys the holy crap out of me. And since I'm new on Twitter and I'm kind of figuring it out, there's people on Twitter that say Derek Jeter's overrated. Okay, first of all, 3,450 something hits, right? 14-time All-Star, Silver Sluggers, 5 World Series, first ballot Hall of Famer, didn't get 1 vote. How the heck are you overrated? Plus, he played in New York, right? He played in New York, and he has an all-time list of off-the-field accomplishments. I mean, and he never got in trouble.
I want to hear people who say he's overrated, why he's overrated.
But tell me, how can you say
I'll
that?
tell you what they say. I'm just the messenger. They'll say defensively he was overrated.
5 Gold Gloves, I think.
Yeah, but they weren't being judged the same way on defense. He made the
but
plays
that's how
he
they
was
were being
supposed to
judged
make.
at the time.
From a range perspective,
I remember him running, diving into a damn stands, coming out of the cut chin.
The highlights stand out. I'm just saying.
The jump throw like he used to make, he kind of made that his own thing.
Our guy Carlos Correa said he was overrated on defense. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but at one point, Correa said that a year or two ago, that Jeter was a bit overrated on defense.
I ain't got no Gold Gloves. Do you, Kratzy?
Not a chance.
I mean, he wasn't overrated. Okay, here's my thing. If you asked a baseball player when I was playing, and Kratz was similar times, if aliens came down from outer space, landed on New York or landed in Orlando today, and they said, Scott Braun, AJ Pierzynski, I need an example of a baseball player. I'm pretty damn sure the first guy I'm bringing out is, here's Derek Jeter. Tell me what you think. I mean, when Derek Jeter was going, he was winning World Series. He's living the life off the field. Everybody wanted a piece of him. He was winning awards, Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, batting, everything, making the All-Star team.
World championships.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk. Yeah.
I have actually
in the hardest market in the world to play in too.
I have one thing where he was overrated. Personality. He was
not if you talk to him off the field.
I know, but for the game,
problem.
entertainment wise, he was a boring interview. He was the king of cookie cutter. So for that part, no thanks. That's why, like, post playing career, I'm not incredibly interested to hear from him because he never gave us anything.
True.
That's true.
But if
he was not AJ Pierzynski.
He was awesome to talk to, though. Like before the games,
great conversation.
I mean,
he is
around?
incredibly calculated as a human being, and you can tell that seeps through his
Tiger
answers.
Woods.
Boring. That part's
Tiger
boring.
Woods. Tiger Woods
that's
when
my
he did his
point.
interviews. I hit it good.
I think the younger generation, and I'll speak for them on this part, they're looking for a little more spice, which is one of our favorite emojis here at Foul Territory, in responses. And that's why we have AJ and Kratz. You guys talked. You might not have been as good as Derek Jeter, but you guys were a much better interview.
Well, I mean, he wasn't trying to win the all-interview team. He was trying to win World Championship.
Kratzy just wants to know, where is he overrated? For me, that's the spot where I'll go. Overrated.
He's overrated as an interview?
As an interview?
Oh, my gosh.
The point is, otherwise, he's fantastic.
But he also didn't do a lot of interviews either, don't forget.
No, I mean, but post-game in the clubhouse at the very least, though. I mean, you talk after every game.
Yeah, but he also never said the wrong thing.
We're trying to win. We're trying to win. Let's win.
That's what he wanted to do, win. Didn't you see the captain on the TV show?
You know what? It's one of the only docs I have not seen that's on the list because it wasn't high priority for me based on how he was as a personality. And I would tell that to his face. I'd say, hey, you weren't the most interesting player. And he would agree. He would say, I kept
But he would say he did that on purpose.
Of course he did.
Because he wanted to keep his personal life personal.
I agree. That's
why he was able to do the things he did off the field.
So what are your thoughts then on Anthony Volpe? This is actually a good question, Kratzy. Should Anthony Volpe be like Derek Jeter in every single way, or can he show a little bit more personality? Because in 2023, we expect that and we appreciate that if we can relate more to the person.
Anthony Volpe needs to be nothing other than Anthony Volpe.
But my point is that like Jeter, or is that
what
like
he is.
himself?
Be himself.
I don't know him. I don't know how he is, but you can't, like, if you go into the Yankees locker room, it's like nothing you've ever seen in the sense of the superstars getting talked to. Didi Gregorius handled taking over for Derek Jeter, possibly one of the most difficult positions to take over in my lifetime of baseball. Not saying that he became Derek Jeter. He did a great job because Didi was Didi. Didi just handled it the only way he knew how. He was very intelligent, He was kind of active on Twitter if you're looking for some kind of like selling yourself kind of thing. But he was who he was. And I think the Yankees did a good job of looking into what kind of person Didi was to take over that position. Nobody's ever going to be able to hit 3,500 hits before Volpe cannot try to live up to what Jeter did as a person or what he did as on field or as the playing, because you just got to let the time happen. But if he tries to be anybody else, he can't be Judge. He can't be who else are the other personalities there. I think you're always getting interviewed. So you can't just constantly come up with a new thing to say every single day. So you just learn to play the kind of methodical card.
You want to hear Aaron Boone talking to Anthony Volpe about making the squad?
Yeah.
Because you came in and played your ass off. Okay. And, we talked about at the start of this being a competition and you killed it. But at the end of the day, you got 20-something games at AAA. There's always room for development. But at the end, I think that development should happen in the big leagues. Welcome to New York. Congratulations, brother. You earned it. You earned it.
So that was, for the podcast crowd, sound of Aaron Boone sitting in the office, Cashman's next to him, and Volpe's across the desk. And it's an awesome moment. Here's my one thing, Kratzy. Is it exactly like that, or are they playing to the camera a little bit? I don't know. I would be a little less reserved. I'd be like, you fucking made it, dude. Your whole life, was it? I mean, he clearly knew there's a camera on the side there. Is that how it is every time, or is it a little more casual?
I don't think he knew the camera, because did you see the iPad that was facing him? The iPad was up on Booney's desk, videoing it from closer too, if you watch the video again. But yes, I think that's how it is. I think it's different. The dude's 21 years old. Most people haven't even graduated college yet, and he's in the big leagues. See the iPad next to Booney? He's recording it like.
So he definitely knew he was on camera then. He had multiple angles. This is like a Yes Network special going on right now.
This will be on the Yes Network. Don't you worry. Frazier can talk about this pregame.
But this is real. Like, I've been in places where guys get called up and they cry. I've been in places where guys get called up. I saw a dude get called up, not for the first time, it was for the second time, but like, he earned it, and he goes, finally.
I like that.
I did that.
Did you?
Last time I got called up.
When was the last time?
I was in AAA in 2000, and they gave out the 6-year free agent papers, and I didn't get one because I was on the roster, and it was like July, August of, and I was like, what do I got to do to get called up? The farm director for the Twins, Jim Rance, was in town, and he passing out the 6-year free agent papers, because at the end of 6 years, you can become a free agent in the minor leagues. And I went into the office and I said, why didn't I get one of these? And he goes, well, you're on the roster. And I go, yeah, but I want to frame this so I can get the hell out of the organization. And I got called up the next day, and I was like, finally. And I never went back down.
I like that.
I mean, it's not the greatest. I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Nope.
But it worked.
It's an AJ way to do it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of, because I'd been up and down, but I was just pissed because I was hitting like 320 something in AAA.
What was the holdup?
That's a great question. I wish somebody would have told me.
Were they trying to hold back your service time?
No, because I already had. This is before all that, and I wasn't going to win Rookie of the Year, any of that stuff.
So what was the problem?
I don't know. Nobody ever.
You never found out?
No, and then I went up and never came back. So apparently the problem was solved.
See, the thing is, nowadays, because we're so far removed from it, we should find out what happened. Like what prevents a 320
I know what prevented me. Chad
catcher?
Moeller and Danny Ardouin.
Danny Ardouin.
Yeah, exactly. That's what prevented me, because they were like, well, they're better. And I'm like, let's take a bet on this, and let's make a futures bet, as you would say, on this, and see what happens. And
wait, what year was this?
2000.
Yeah, you didn't hit 320. You hit 313. But
my bad.
It's fine.
Sorry about it. Sorry, my bad.
Kratzy's still in my job now too, which I absolutely love. You can totally look
only,
up stats for me.
Only 8 pumps too. I mean, one time. Put the ball out of the ballpark.
Dude, I was only there half the year. I wasn't a home run hitter.
You got 383 at bats.
Yeah, I wasn't a home run hitter. It's okay. 313, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's good.
Check,
but it wasn't
check out that team,
320
Kratzy. I'll put that team up against any minor league team ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kratzy, how many times were you called up to the big leagues?
Oh my gosh.
Like, give me a rough estimate.
One season, I got called up 5 times. That's tough. Like,
No, that's fine. That's all I know. It's the setup is. I just want to know, was it ever done in a creative way for you, and what was the first time like? But the subsequent, 50 times, I would, just knowing your personality. No, it's a good thing. I would have sat down at one point with Kratzy and been like, "It's your time, Kratzy. Go
the 50th
get him,
time
baby.
is the charm,
Let's
Erik.
go. Give me a big ass hug. This thing's
is the
streaming
one.
live on the Yes and SNY app."
yeah, you're gonna have to buy the book to be able to figure out, which one is your favorite time getting called up. I mean, I got called up my first time on national television from the AAA All-Star game. So that was my first time getting
No
called up.
way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, MLB Network probably. Did you start at MLB Network right when it started, or did you come like a couple years later?
I was a couple of years in. My first year was beginning of 2012. When was
It was before. This was before Mitch
that.
Williams got fired.
I was there for all that, but it
Yeah,
was
this was
before
before
that.
that,
But
so-
what year was it? It was probably what?
10.
Oh, it was 2010. I wasn't there yet. No,
Yeah.
I was in college. Wasn't there yet. Okay, but you're at the AAA All-Star game, and
AAA All-Star game. I started the All-Star game. The year before, I won MVP of the All-Star game. So I played like first 6 innings as a starter, and then I get pulled out in the 3rd inning of the All-Star game. And my manager was like the bench coach, 3rd coach for the All-Star game. And my manager in Indianapolis, Frank Kremblis, and he goes, and I was like, 3 innings, 1 at bat? Like, that's terrible. Jesus Montero went in for me. And I was like, I can stay in. And he goes, well, I saw that foul tip. It caught you pretty good. Like, are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine. There was just a random foul tip that, game didn't even stop for. And he goes, well, do you want to go back in the game or do you want to go to the big leagues? And I was, I was like, holy crap. I gave him a hug. I ran around the corner and the PR guy, the game was in Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. And he stopped me. The PR guy stopped me and took me over to the MLB Network camera at the end of the dugout. And my whole family is in the stands. They don't know why I come out of the game. They can't see into the dugout from where their seats are. And I'm at the end of the dugout giving an interview. So everybody that I wouldn't have told first found out I got called up to the big leagues. And my parents and my family all got told last. They found out before I even got to the phone because they had the game simulcasted on all the TVs. And my buddy, who was like, oh, he's out of the game. So he went up to get some funnel cake or waffle fries or something. And he saw it on the screen that was up above where he's standing in line, like 6,000 minor league games, never called up to the big leagues. And then he's like, oh, crap. Never went and got the funnel cake and went back and told my family.
so it was broken on MLB.
Yeah.
They exploited Kratzy
Yeah.
getting called up. That's really cool, though. I like that. I mean, I'm sure you don't really quite care how it's done. You get the call up. Everyone finds out within a certain period of time. It's freaking awesome. So it's a good story. Yours?
Salt Lake City, 98. Last game of the year, get called in the office. The manager's like, hey, congratulations. You're going to Anaheim tomorrow. Be on the big team. Good luck.
Was it like that quick?
That was it.
Super basic?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was like 4 of us. He's like, all right, all 4 of you guys are going to the big leagues tomorrow. Congratulations.
They brought you all in at the same time?
Yeah. I mean,
What time of year was it?
It was September. It was September call-ups.
Yeah.
So my first day, though, was kind of cool. It was the day McGuire broke the home run record.
Your first game?
98. It was my first big league day. I didn't play that day, but it was my first day.
Did you think the big leagues was like the craziest
I'm like, this
shit
is
ever?
This is the coolest stuff ever.
I mean, the
Well,
place
it was in
was
Anaheim.
off the charts.
So we're in Anaheim, on the West Coast. And Anaheim has that big ass scoreboard in left field, right? We're taking batting practice. We're warming up. Everyone stops because McGuire comes up. Boom! He hits the home run off Traxel. Place goes crazy. Players going crazy, and I'm like, man, this big league stuff's kind of cool. I'm like, it's happening every day, boys. They're like, oh, man. And that was it.
kind of downhill from there.
I mean,
Not for
AJ,
you. I'm saying to go up though. I mean, there was insane amounts of like media. I watched that documentary was crazy. Like there was one time he was on the highway. Someone like found out he was in traffic, and then like cars stopped and just started like coming out of their car and going up to him for autographs. I mean, he was a rock star.
Yeah.
We don't really have that anymore. That was it. That was the last time like the world stopped for baseball in that way.
Yeah.
Agree?
Yeah. Bonds still. I think Bonds had some of that. Not as much.
Not the
because
same.
he wasn't as well liked.
Also, no, but also people started saying, "Wait a second, something seems off here."
Well, that's because
his
of
hats,
those.
His hats aren't fitting.
But it was because of those two.
Wait, what are you saying? He was using an illegal bat?
Illegal bat? Is that what they call it? Is that what they call? Is that the street word?
Is that what you were insinuating, Scott?
Yeah, I don't need to insinuate.
Used in,
read
Miami
books,
this
read
weekend?
court records. No,
AJ,
there are a lot of steroids in Miami. I've never touched them.
Okay. Yes, Kratzy.
AJ, were you expecting to get called up that year? Like, were you or were you surprised?
I mean, I was on the roster, but I was 21. I did well in AA, but I did okay in AAA, but I was so young, and then I get called up, and I was like, I'm the man now, and then I sucked. And then the best part was I went from the big leagues to the Arizona Fall League, and I was absolutely horrible because, I mean, you go from the big leagues to the Arizona Fall League with like they gave me like 1 day off. They're like, season's over. By the way, the Arizona Fall League already started. You got to be there tomorrow. And I'm like, what?
I've never seen anybody do good doing that.
That was horrible. I was terrible because I was like, this sucks. And I sucked in there. And then, whatever. But it all worked out. But yeah, the first day was pretty cool.
So one more call up, Jordan Walker. And we'll get to that with Katie Wu coming up. We'll have Wu and also Trevino for the Yankees, the all-star catcher. But Jordan Walker is an absolute monster. Actually, you have two very different profiles here. Anthony Volpe is listed 5'11", 180. He's probably like 5'10"-ish. Jordan Walker is 6'5" plus.
Yeah.
Huge. Actually, a pretty light, small bat. Going to play outfield. In my mind, highest upside.
So my question is, and maybe Kratz, since you've been called up more times than I have, which is awesome. Do they do this for everybody, or they only do this for the top prospects, where they like videotape telling them they're making the team? Because I don't know if the middle relief guy because the first time you make an opening day roster is a big deal. Like it means a lot to the player, especially when you're younger. You're like, oh man, I have never been, guys have never been to the big leagues. Man, I made the opening day roster. Yes.
Just the call up in general. No, I can answer your question.
I've seen a lot more of these videos.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, because social media.
It gets play on social. Often
we're talking about it.
It's a memory too. Like it is cool. I mean, think about it. For you guys, I know what the answer is going to be. Kratzy, I mean, you kind of had it all play out that way anyway. But let's say, you're in spring training right now and you get called into the office and they give you the speech and tell you you're getting called up. You get the hugs, the whole deal. Afterward, if they were like, hey, we actually recorded it too, wouldn't you be fired up? You get to show that to your family. You get to keep that memory forever. So they should do it for everyone at this point. If you're an organization, even if it's not a clip that you're putting out to the world and it doesn't go viral, it's the least you could do. It's one of the most special moments in a player's career.
Absolutely. Absolutely is. And you have that forever. Like, I don't care if you're getting called up from Rochester in the middle of the season. If it's your first call up, it needs, if you have the opportunity to be able to have it on video, it is. It's a great experience. I was thinking about it when I saw Walker's call up. I was thinking about the first one that I can remember where they videoed it. And, my first thought was when they did that documentary on the Giants and Vogelsong got called up. It wasn't his first call up, but it was like a guy that had kind of toiled around for a while, never found his footing. And, that was huge. That was it's a huge moment. And I think every team should video it.
I mean, when I got called in the office, it was usually bad. I never really got called in very often.
Agreed.
Because I never really had the meeting, in spring training, I never had a meeting like you made the team, right? Because my first year when I made it out of spring training was 2001. There was no meeting. It was just because I did well at the end of 2000. So but there was never a meeting where they're like, hey, you made the team. Like, cool. I was like, but I don't remember them ever doing that. It was just kind of like you never get sent down, so you just like you keep waiting until the last day, and then you're like, okay, do I pack? And then they're just kind of like, yeah, be ready. But now it's like such a different because of social media and because of networks, team networks, and needing to fill space and all that stuff. I mean, they record everything, and but I don't ever remember seeing that ever.
Well, everything gets documented now and talked about a lot more.
I've been in those meetings, and the part where Booney's like, it's a competition and you don't have a lot of experience in AAA, that's where my meeting went south. For Volpe, his went north. Like, he was like, normally they're just like, it's just a lot of competition. You're not on the roster. We're going to go ahead and send you down. Like, that's more of the meetings. That is more of the meetings where you're the one that gets, you're the one that gets the axe.
So
it's not it.
So now it's become such a thing that people are rating the approach and the performance of the managers.
So
Wait, you want me to give you an example of one?
Sure. But then I'm going to give you how we knew whether we were making the team or not in spring training.
Go ahead.
Was with the Twins, they had an equipment bag above your locker. So if you came in one day and the equipment bag was gone, that means your ass was going to AAA or AA that day.
Yep.
Because you would walk in every day and you'd be like, oh, damn it, my equipment bag's gone. He gone.
He gone.
You knew because, so it would always be the day meal money ran out. So it was meal money day. So you knew, you had an idea when cuts were coming. So you're like, okay, I get my meal money for the week on, let's say, Monday. So you get it, and you get like 3 weeks for guaranteed. And then you're like, okay, money runs out on Monday. So people are going down, right? So on that day, you'd walk in and everyone would be like, oh, my bag's still there. I get another week of meal money. And you'd see your buddy, and like we talked about with Michael Harris and Vaughn Grissom, like, oh no, his bag's gone. What do I say? Do I hide? Do I talk to him? Like, what do I do? And then, okay, my bag's still there. Okay. But that was how they literally would just take your equipment bag, your Twins, like with Twins, they take it down. It was gone. You're gone.
What a warm way to find out if you're going to make the team or not. See, things have changed.
But then like the position coach would come get you. You'd be sitting there because you knew it was coming because your bag was gone. You're just like kind of sitting there. And the worst is you're like, dude, some guys would like try to hide, like didn't delay the inevitable, like just sit there and you're like just waiting. You're like, okay.
Some guys would hide. What do they do?
They'd go in the cage and like try to act like they didn't know. I mean, seriously, and then the coach, like the hitting coach, would have to walk out there and get him out. Hey, we need to see, TK, Tom Kelly needs to see you in his office, and then they have to do the walk of shame through the clubhouse. Everyone knows when they see him with the coach, walking with him.
It's over.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you hide long enough, then someone will get hurt in the meantime. And they'll say, just kidding.
The one thing me and Pete Orr used to do, because we knew we were getting sent down, and Pete Orr actually made the team the year we were doing this. In spring training, we would come up from behind each other when you're sitting at your chair at your locker and you're not seeing, and you tap on somebody's shoulder, because that's how they'd always do it with the Phillies. Your position coach would come and they'd tap, hey, Chuck needs to see you. Hey, Charlie needs to see. And like we'd try to do each other's voices to all the guys that were like on the right side of the locker room, because guys on the left side of the locker room, they're already, they've made the team. They're the Przinskis of the team. But the right side of the locker room, dudes are just like this, like, the Grim Reaper is just, he's wielding his seeth, and you're just like waiting around. And then Pete would come up behind you and he'd tap you on your shoulder and go, hey, Charlie needs to see you. And you just when he taps on your shoulder, like you start sweating. Guys like AJ, they would never get that joke. He'd be like, why are you tapping my shoulder, nerd?
I got sitting down. I know how it goes.
It's not it.
Let's get into it. Ready? Jose Trevino joining us right now on FT Live. We're going to have him throughout the season. We're pumped. This is our first active catcher on the show. And I don't know if you can tell, Jose, but it's a pretty catcher-heavy rotation that we have on the show on a daily basis anyway. So how you doing? I know you were just fresh out of a team meeting. How's everything going out there?
Yeah, no, sorry. I was a little late. It was a pitchers meeting. My catcher guys know what I'm talking about, having to go over the pitchers.
Yeah, okay. So, no, I want to know what was said. Can you break it down for us? Give us exactly what was said in this meeting.
Word for word.
Yeah.
All right, here it is. I got it for you. No, y'all know how it is, man. Bunch of, trying to get to know the pitchers. Right before we break, I jumped in right on y'all, talking about how skipper comes up to guys and stuff. So everybody, we're at that time of the year where, like you said, the Brzezinskis, they're not looking over their shoulders, so
Yeah.
they're good.
You better, hey, as Joey Votto said, you better Google me and look how many times I got sent down. Trust me, it happened. So
You
Great
didn't get
career,
sent
though.
down
Great
more
career.
times than I did in one season. Hosey knows. Hosey knows. He got sent down and called up. And
Oh yeah. Sent down,
So-
called up, done it all, man.
Jose, what? So you did have a pitchers meeting. I know the Yankees are obviously the Yankees, but you have all your starters. A bunch of your starters are hurt. Severino's down, Rodon's down. Cole's kind of the last man standing. Was that meeting about like, hey, these are the guys, this is the order we're going to go in. These are the guys that are there, and get to know them quick?
No. I mean, we do a really good job here of open communication, man, where we're constantly talking about the pitchers. Any guy, whether he's on the roster, he did something good, we have kind of like an open communication of like, hey, like, be ready because this guy might be up at some point, or like this guy can really help us sooner or later in the year. And that's kind of what the meeting was about. I mean, we went over a couple guys, Clark Schmidt, we went over Michael King, just like refreshers, man, just going into the season, making sure that, we're all buttoned up,
who's the fifth guy? Who's going to be the guy that you're going to really have to tutelage? Or now that you're a platinum glove, do you give the fifth guy over to Higgy? And you're just like, well, I want to get Cole, and if Severino's pitching well, I want to know how much you've changed.
No, man. I want to play as much as I can. I don't care. I want to be out there. But as for the fifth starter, I've got no idea, man. I don't know. I'm sure they're gonna address it here pretty soon, whether it's in the next day or so. But I have no clue.
Wait, who are the four? Cole, Herman, right?
Uh-huh.
Schmidt.
Yeah, Schmidt's
Cole,
day 2.
Cole, Schmidt, Herman,
Nestor, Schmidt,
Nestor.
and Nestor.
Yeah,
Nestor's
that's
in
4.
there.
And I think it's Michael King.
Yeah.
I think we just broke some more news, Yankee fans, because Jose just said
Nah.
we had to talk about Michael
No.
King. There we go.
No,
We
no,
broke
that's
first that
not-
Volpe made the team, and now we're bragging first that Michael King is the fifth starter. Thank you very much.
That'd be great. That'd be great for King if he was a starter. But he's more valuable out of that bullpen for sure.
He's a bullpen guy, and you're catching Clark Schmidt in today's game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Clark. I got Clark here in a little bit. Just that's the main reason why. Just kind of going over it, making sure we're buttoned up. Before this game and before the actual lights come on and we're ready to roll.
How is Piece of Schmidt looking? Is he fully healthy? Is he ready to go?
I love that. I hold up. Before you find out anything about Schmidt doing the nickname.
I've had that. We were at the alt site, and I would call him Piece of Schmidt all the time. And I couldn't tell if he liked it or not because he was kind of reserved and like so.
Hey, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm actually gonna take a mound visit. I'm gonna take a mound visit in the second or third inning, and I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, you piece of Schmidt," and I'm gonna stop at that. I'm gonna see what he says, and then I'll come back, and then I'll let you know what he says the next time I'm on.
Hey, can we get you mic'd up for that mound visit, please? I want to hear this on the Yes Network.
Let's see what we can do. I can definitely pull some strings for that one. But no, he looks great, man. He looks great. The stuff looks good, man. He's got a great arm. He's got good stuff. So, just with him, working with him throughout the spring and watching how he's growing, man. And then from last year to this year, it's impressive.
One more on Schmidt, and then we'll get to Volpe. He added a cutter. Is he like the breakout candidate in the rotation or even on the team for the Yanks?
He's got some good stuff. The cutter's really good. The cutter plays up really good to both righties and lefties. Man, and it's just been a good pitch for his arsenal, I think.
Does it take anything away from his sinker, or is it?
No. So that's a great. Who was that? Brzezinski or
No, I don't have those
Kratz?
smart questions like Kratz does.
Oh, so I've always thought like a guy that throws a cutter takes away from his sinker. So, but no, it hasn't, man. It's actually been really, really good for him. You look at the way he kind of throws when he was throwing his four seam, he was kind of cutting his four seam anyway. So they just added that pitch for him.
Okay, so let's get to the call-up that we all know about. Anthony Volpe made the team. Yes, breaking news. If everyone's been snoozing on social media.
Yeah.
So what did you think? I want to start this way. What did you think of the performance by your manager, Aaron Boone, trying to deke him a little bit, but some people on social were like, and then he didn't go really hard on like the emotional, like, you made it, dude. He kind of kept himself level. Your thoughts on his performance?
I think Booney did all right. Booney's actually all right in those situations. When he told me the All-Star game, he kind of was. I thought I was in trouble, so he got me on that. But for the most part, I thought he did. I thought he did all right, man. I thought he did okay. But as for Volpe, man, it's such a good player. He came into spring training ready to go from day one. Day one, he hit the ground running and was ready to go. So super pumped for him. Super excited to see what he's going to do in New York. I think the fans are going to love him. They're going to love the way he plays the game, man. He plays the game really hard.
Well, the fans have been clamoring for him for a while now, so they're going to get their wish. Let's hope he can live up to the hype. As New York is a tough spot to, heck, they booed Aaron Judge last year in the playoffs. That's a tough place to play. What has Judge changed at all since he's become captain? He's the same guy. Is he still treating everybody the same?
Man,
he's got all these millions. He's buying you dinner now. Did he buy anything good?
No, he's the same, man. He's the same guy from the day that I met him. He's been the same. He's been great. Not only to me, but to my son. Like, he's been great to my little boy. But he's the captain, man. He carries himself. He's a leader by example, which is what you want basically out of your leader. Everybody has their takes on what they want from their leader, but for me, it's like lead by example, do your work, and get ready to go.
AJ, he's already buying stuff. He bought me this Apple Watch, so you don't have to worry about him buying stuff now that he's got a couple extra $100 million. You don't got to worry about that with Judgy. You mentioned your son, so tell me about career day at and how that all came about.
Yeah. So the teachers had asked. They had asked my wife, and they were like, "Hey, like, do you mind if Jose comes and talks to the kids for career day?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'd love to come. Like that. I think that'll be great." So I ended up going. I ended up asking my son, like, "Hey, what do you want me to wear? Like, do you want me to go in my uniform? Do you want me to be, what do you want me to wear?" And he's like, "Yeah, uniform." And then he was like, "Yeah, like catcher's gear." And I was like, "Oh, all right. Like, you want me in the catcher's gear?" And I was like, "Do you want me to wear spikes?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want you in spikes." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "How about eye black? You want me to wear eye black?" And he was like, "Yeah, I want eye black." And at home, like, I'd burn the cork, and I'd put the eye black on him, and he'd go outside and play or do whatever. So I was like, "Oh, you want me to burn the cork?" And he's like, Yeah, I need it. It's like, all right, cool. So I show up, and I show up late. Like, I show up late, like 15 minutes late to this thing. I'm like, dang, like, getting dressed. I'm like trying to get in the car, just finished my workout. I'm hot and sweating. So I get there, and I'm spiked up. Like, I'm ready to roll. Like, if there was a game right then and there, it's on. It's happening. I'm ready. So I walk in, and my son's friend's dad is sitting right next to me. He's a firefighter. And he turns over to me. He goes, "Dude, really?" And I'm like, "Sorry, man. My son asked." He started laughing, and it was a good day. It was fun. My son definitely enjoyed it, and the kids there had a good time. But I did get asked if I was an astronaut. I did get asked that.
An astronaut. Did you have your cup on?
Yeah. I didn't have my cup on.
See, it wasn't full. You didn't go full gear.
I didn't have my cup on. Yeah. No, I didn't have my cup on. My jock strap was still tucked away in the box. I wasn't blocking yet by then.
That's fair. No blocking in the off season. It's kind of like AJ during the season. No blocking. But anyway, let's go to the pitch clock, okay? Because you have, and we're gonna run the commercial. You and Nathan Cortez commercial. I want to, maybe we'll be able to run the commercial, and then I want you to talk about it, but then really actually talk about, how this is going to change what's happening for you here with the pitch clock. Let's run the commercial. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but our viewers will.
It's going to make the game quick.
Uh-huh.
It affects you too.
I'm a catcher. I just throw the ball back.
If I have to be faster, so do you.
Dude.
Yeah, we did a lot of takes because we were trying so hard not to laugh at each other because we would stare at each other. So we'd be like, dude, like stop, like look away and let's get back to this. Like look away and then we'll get back to it. But the guy was like, yeah, you'll have to stare at each other and look at each other, keep eye contact. And I would try not to laugh and he would try not to laugh. So we did multiple takes on it. But there was a better one that we recorded was I was like full catcher gear running on the treadmill. I thought would have been better, but you know, I'm just a baseball player. I'm not a producer. So,
All right, how many miles did you get in?
Dude, I ran a ton. Hey, there was somebody. For real. I'm being dead serious. I ran a ton. There was somebody like wiping me down, giving me water, like making sure I was dry, making sure I was hydrated. I ran a lot.
Wait, so there's
like way too much.
I love that. Wait, so there's a director's cut. There's something else in there that it might be better
I'm assuming
than the commercial up.
100%, 100%. Because there was like a better commercial. Like they sent in like a full.
Oh, did we?
Wait, no, we got you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. They sent like a full like on like production team. Like there was like a gym in Tampa that we went to. It was like they decorated with Yankee stuff. Like there's like a huge thing, but I think it was too long maybe. So they just went with like the easier one, I guess. But
wait, who has
there
a
was
better
another
commercial?
one that was better.
Jose, who has a better commercial? You or Vogelbach talking about stealing bases? Because
that commercial.
That commercial is fire.
That commercial is really good. I really hope he gets a bag this season.
What if it's on you?
I hope.
What if it's on you then?
Hey, I'll have him sign that base and give it to me. I'll take it.
You got to have a big house for that huge base too.
Yeah, that's true. The pizza box.
Yeah. No, I want to talk about the pitch clock because I'm voting, and I think you can have this. I think we're gonna check our BetMGM props on this to see if you can be the first catcher to go down with a fake injury, like in football. If Cole is in the 8th inning and needing a breather, and you're reading it, and you're like, my guy needs a breather. I'm going down with a cramp. And then you come running out. How are you guys going to deal with the whole pitch clock stuff?
Man, I think we're ahead of it. I think we're pretty good at it. I think we've been pretty good at it since the start of spring. Just kind of jumping ahead of it, getting, all the rules figured out and having to ask questions like, hey, can we do this? Hey, what about this? What do you think about this? And I think everybody's kind of, adjusted to it and has welcomed it, man, because like the games are rolling now, like maybe sometimes a little too fast, but they're rolling. They're definitely going. And I mean, as baseball players, y'all know the less time to think, the better in this game.
So Jose, speaking of speeding up the game, the All-Star game, everybody loved when Nestor was mic'd up and was like, hey, I'm going to throw this pitch and I'm going to throw this. Maybe we should get to that where the pitcher is just telling you in your earpiece, hey, Breaker, I'm going to throw a cutter in I'm going to throw a cutter in here, Jose. Just set up in and knock it down. And then the next pitch is going to be a changeup, and then he can explain to your ear, and you're like, no, don't do that. But he's like, well, I really feel like the cutter in set up the changeup away. You're like, no, that's a bad idea. Bad idea. But
exactly.
Abort.
No, yeah, you know how it is. You know how it is with those pitchers, man. You know how it is with those pitchers. But I feel like we can. I feel like maybe there's I think maybe there's an opportunity during the season for sure for them to mic up a pitcher and a catcher. But I mean, we all know the information that goes through the dugout. A lot of it rolls through us, so we hear everything, and that's, some of that information is sacred. You hold that information close.
All right, so I want to get back to Judge for one more question here on the free agent period, because once the season starts, it doesn't really matter. We know he's there. I just wanted to know, because we haven't talked to you since. Were you freaking out at any point during the offseason that, maybe he wouldn't come back or anything like that? Or you were just like, I kind of know he's coming back. No. It's all good.
I like it.
Yeah, no, I think, to be honest, I was really confident he was coming back. Like, I feel like watching him in New York, man, like it's special. It's a special thing. And for him to be on that stage to perform the way he did, it's special. And I know how much that means to him, and I know how much that means to the fans and to the organization. So you can ask anybody that was around me. They would be like, "Hey, what's Judge going to do?" And I'm like, "It's fine, man. He's going to be a Yankee. He's going to be a Yankee."
I like it. And then last one from me is on Volpe. Can you give us a little more insight on his personality? We were heavily debating if he's getting like the Jeter makeup comps. Is he going to be a boring post-game interview, or does this guy have some pizzazz to him?
No, man, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's got it all. He's got energy. He's smart. He knows how to play the game, and he wants to play every day. You know, he loves to play. He loves to learn. I think he's gonna be fine. He's gonna do great.
Where are you guys gonna finish this year?
What do you mean? We're gonna be holding the trophy.
That's it.
We're gonna be holding the trophy.
Okay, well, just FYI, we had Susan Wellman on, and she said the Astros.
Yeah, I heard about
that trophy. So I don't know.
I heard about that. That'll be. I'll talk to Susan. I'll talk to Susan about that.
She likes hugs, by the way.
Yeah. She didn't like funny noises, though.
He doesn't know your inside joke.
Sorry.
What you're talking about. She was
not
calling
yet.
out AJ.
She said Kratz was one of the best huggers, and Todd Frazier, and then she said that I one time made funny noises at her, so she didn't like me.
In the clubhouse.
He
was like when she was doing her interview. You got to give more context, so people are like, "What are you talking about?"
Okay,
Like,
you know what? You know what? When I see Susan again, I'm just gonna start making funny noises.
Yeah, there you go.
And then she's gonna ask me, "Why are you making noises?"
So before we let you go, you're playing today at the 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock, right? You guys are still at Steinbrenner in Tampa, right?
Yeah.
Where are you hitting?
Where am I hitting?
Yeah.
In the lineup?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know what you're hitting. 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th?
No, I don't know. Probably 8th. I think 8th.
Go up to Boone and say, Booney, AJ said I'm hitting 4th today. And then you're going to go deep and then see what he says.
You want me to record it?
Yes, please. Yes.
Record it
and send it to me.
Like, hey, Booney, I don't think the 8 hole is going to be good enough. I think I need to be hitting 4 today. AJ told me that I'm hitting 4th, so I need that.
Yeah, like Stanton's probably hitting 4th. Be like, gee, you're hitting 8th today. You're second cleanup. I'm the real cleanup hitter today.
Hey, I like the second cleanup, man. I love it down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Second cleanup, especially at this point in spring training. You guys have been there for a minute. You know, it's about time to get out of there, huh?
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited to get this thing rolling. Excited to be back in New York. Hopefully the weather kind of, warms up a little bit, but we'll see.
Hey, this was awesome. We're excited to have you throughout the season. Obviously, our catcher hosts we're very excited to hear that they're going to have a lot of Jose Trevino. Yeah. So have fun. We'll talk to you a couple weeks into the season too, all right?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I can't wait. This catcher stuff is going to be good.
Yeah, I can't wait to dig in once the season starts.
We're going to dive in. Yeah. I like it. Have a good game today, Jose. We'll talk to you soon, bud. Awesome. Jose Trevino. He's great.
Great. If he does that and he records that, Booney will lose his mind.
Yeah. In a good way.
No. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he'll crack up. Especially this is the perfect time in spring training. Yes. Like everyone is itching to get out of there.
Yeah, it needs something funny to talk about.
Yeah.
And then, if he says that to Susan Wallen, that would be great too. Just goes up and give her a big hug and starts making crazy noises in her ear. She's going to say, what?
What are you? He's going to be like, I like that he said that, though. He's like, oh, I heard what Susan said.
Yeah.
I caught that.
Yeah.
That was good. Actually, my favorite part of the interview, and by the way, Katie Wu from The Athletics joining us in like 2 minutes to talk Jordan Walker, Cardinals, etc. Actually, less than 1 minute. Just wanted to get this in before we bring in Katie. Question of the interview is probably Kratzy coming up with the pull of Schmidt for Clark.
Yes.
That's going to be a thing today. At one point, Trevino is going to visit Schmidt on the mound, and he's going to, we're not going to see what he's saying, but Schmidt's going to smile or laugh, and we'll all know.
I'm definitely I'm intrigued because I'm hoping the game is on TV somewhere, right?
Oh, it's got to be on
Yes.
It's got to be on Yes.
So I'm going to have to tune into Yes now and see if he actually does it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm watching. Now a spring training game on March 27th has become must-watch television.
This has got to be close to their last game, right?
Yeah, it's close. I mean, opening
maybe
day is
tomorrow.
Thursday. Probably
Thursday's opening day, so it's got to be today or tomorrow.
Yes,
because they always give the built-in travel day.
Well, let's go over scheduling right now. Someone who would know for the St. Louis Cardinals. Katie Wu covers the Cardinals for The Athletic. Excited to have her joining us right now. Katie, thank you for the time. Very excited to get into things, including Jordan Walker. But first off, can you help enlighten us on scheduling? So for St. Louis today, are they playing in Jupiter? Is this the last game, or do they do one more?
Well, yes. Good morning, guys. Nice to see you all. The Cardinals are in Sarasota playing Baltimore for one more game. I am not there. I'm not with the team. I'm getting mentally prepared for opening day and the Jordan Walker show and all the things that come along with this insane Cardinals team. But yeah, they broke camp from Jupiter yesterday. They have their final game today. Looks like their lineup today very much to me resembles what we'll see on Thursday for opening day.
Interesting. That's normally how it works. So the Cardinals broke yesterday from Jupiter. Now they're in Sarasota, which is always the worst because if you finish on the road, you just want to get the game over with. Mm-hmm. We talked about this, Katie. Like the last spring training game is like, let's hurry this up and swing at the first pitch and so we can get on the plane and get to St. Louis or wherever they open. Mm-hmm. But Roger Dean has hosted the Cardinals for, I don't know, 20 years or so, at least 20 years.
Yeah, about 25.
So they're redoing it. And it's going to take 2 years. Where are the Cardinals going to play next year in the Marlins? Are they going to have a new home? Are they going to share like with the Astros? How's that going to work?
No, unfortunately for the Cardinals and the Marlins, I'm pretty sure they're staying at Roger Dean, but Roger Dean is being demolished. So it's going to be like trailer clubhouses and they're going to work out outside. It's not ideal, especially because the players have been like pretty honest about, okay, the conditions at Roger Dean aren't great. Some upgrades would be nice. And they're going to have to, I think, go down a little bit before things get better. But right now, the current plan is to just kind of make do with what they have at Roger Dean, which it won't be a lot. So we'll see how that goes.
So there'll be nobody complaining from Cardinals camp last year. Derek Gould, you guys will be like, man, this place sucks. Every tweet I see.
Yes, I will be complaining 100%.
Because baseball players never complain about little things like clubhouses, food, having to work out. No.
Baseball writers, broadcasters, anybody, fans.
No, I've never had a complaint in my life.
This sport is the king of complaining.
So tell us about the Walker thing with him getting called up. I mean, was it expected? We all saw the videos. It was amazing how Ollie Marmol did it, and they were all in there. But was this expected, or was this probably a year ahead of his time?
You know, I think when the Cardinals went into spring training, their president of baseball ops, John Mozeliak, was pretty honest in saying Jordan had every opportunity to make the club. It was just a matter of what he could do performance-wise, which I think Jordan certainly proved that within the first couple of weeks. I mean, I saw this dude hit a 460-foot home run in Palm Beach, and it was just kind of evident there. Like, balls off the bat don't make that sound if you're a normal human. This is not a normal human. And then it really just came down to where the Cardinals could put him. They've never really promoted top prospects, so they don't really have a reputation with service time manipulation. They've only promoted their top prospects when there is a sure route for these guys to play every single day. So the Cardinals have a pretty stacked outfield, and Dylan Carlson, Tyler O'Neill, and Lars Nootbaar. With Walker in the mix, he's probably going to be their starting left fielder for opening day. They needed to figure out what they're going to do with Carlson. Sounds like he'll be a platoon pinch hit guy. He's a switch hitter who can also play all three outfield positions. So very exciting for Jordan Walker. He'll wear number 18. I don't know how much time you guys have seen him or been around him, but his poise, his mannerisms, it's so easy to forget he's 20 years old. I'll talk to him sometimes and I'm like, you are so much more mature than me. Like maybe twice as mature as me and you're significantly younger. He's really just a special talent. So very exciting in St. Louis to see him.
What were you hearing? What were you hearing last year? Like, was this guy going to be the guy, or do you feel like you kind of mentioned it, the whole service time manipulation? Like, while the Cardinals haven't been, involved with that, like, does that kind of change? Does it kind of change how they allow these rookies to come up, or was this guy, did you think he was going to make the team before you even watched him play?
I had some reservations, not because of Jordan for any means, but because he's only been playing the outfield professionally for about half a season. He's never played AAA. Of course, we're seeing in so many cases now that does not really mean anything. But for me, has Jordan experienced enough in the outfield to play every single day, knowing who the Cardinals had in their projected starting outfield? But what he did in AA, which I think was just by far his most impressive season, and how he carried himself in camp, I mean, it's just a really special talent, and he earned and deserved every bit of it. Just talking to Jordan, I think you'll see pretty easy on that this is a special guy with, I don't know. I'm always hesitant to like put labels on prospects because the adjustment to the big leagues, as you guys know, is insane. But this just seems like one of the most exciting names the Cardinals have brought up in a significant while.
Hey, Katie, if the Cardinals get into any fights this year, are they glad to have Jordan on their side? He looks like he would have 20 sacks in the NFL.
Dude, I think I have to bring like a stool to interviews with Jordan. There's a video of me talking to him, and like I go up to like maybe here, like maybe like bicep range, and I look like one of those kid reporters that gets to like asked to go to camp for a day. Like I do not look like a working professional. He made me look like I was like 16 and like one of those junior reporters like so excited to ask a question. But yes, between him, the always fiery Nolan Arenado, and Wilson Contreras, who has been a great addition for that team, I think they have a pretty good shot in winning any kind of brawls.
So before we get to Contreras, I do have one more question on the Jordan Walker thing. So you just said he's the biggest prospect in a while since Dylan Carlson, right? I mean, he was kind of the big thing that was coming for St. Louis. And so now he's going to take it back. So that assumes Nootbaar is going to play center every day. And then Tyler O'Neill is going to play DH, because I'm kind of confused how they're going to work him into the lineup every day, because there's so many people moving parts. You have, Donovan, you have all these guys, who Edmund, where he's going to play, and then you got DeYoung. So there's a lot of moving parts on how they're going to get him at bats every day.
Yes. It's very complicated to figure out. But one thing about Ollie Marmol that we learned in his first year as manager last year is he really does not stick to the same lineup every day. He really likes lineup fluidity. And because of the versatility of the Cardinals defensively throughout the whole roster, they think they'll be able to do it. So the way it's looking at it right now is they had an open competition for center field. And I don't think they'll have a true set starting fielder because all three of those guys, O'Neill, Carlson, and Nootbaar, can play center. I think Tyler O'Neill will see the majority of reps there, though. But Nootbaar and Carlson can trade in. Carlson can DH. Nolan Gorman can DH. Brendan Donovan can play pretty much anywhere in the field. So they have a lot of pieces that they can able to like swap in and out. And that's what we saw from Ollie last year. That was more out of necessity, though. Now that he has a bunch of players that are, one, coming off stellar camps, and two, proven themselves at the major league level, we'll be able to see how he kind of like picks and puts together the pieces. The only set things he'll have in his lineup that he said will be Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras hitting 3, 4, 5. We know the positions those guys play. Everything else is going to be fluid. And that to me is a huge strength for the Cardinals. I mean, I think gone are the days where you have your starting 1 through 9. Now with all the splits, the matchups, the data that you have, the analytics, I think the Cardinals really benefit from having so many different players that can play so many different positions where they can really maximize the matchups.
Nice. Ollie Marmol, Dr. Phillips High School, fellow alumni. So tell him hi from me next time you see him. But
I will.
So you mentioned Contreras. We had an argument the other day that because Derek Gould came out with an article about Contreras, how he's working to get his Gold Glove and how he's trying to be Yachty-like, I guess. He's a fiery guy. But the other day, Erik Kratz is like, I don't like him. I don't like Contreras. I think he just throws the ball around too much. He's not a good catcher.
Ooh,
so what's
spicy.
he doing? Yeah, right? I mean, what's he doing, though, to improve to be that guy? What are the things that you've seen from him that have changed from the Cubs to the Cardinals?
That's a good question. And, I think we're still learning a lot about Contreras and who he is as a teammate, who he is as a catcher. I think the Cardinals, sometimes it's just about getting a fresh start in a new organization. I mean, when you take into consideration when Contreras was signed by the Cubs, he's really spent almost 15 years in that organization. Sometimes you just have to go to a new place to learn more. And I think the Cardinals and how highly they value defense and what they do to promote it inside the club has been a good change for him. I think it also helps that he's coming into a clubhouse that is filled with leadership, where he necessarily doesn't have to be that one guy like maybe he was with the Cubs last year. He's coming into a clubhouse that has Adam Wainwright, friend of the show. It has Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, and all these guys lead in different ways. And I've seen Contreras kind of just step in, look around and say, I can lead too, but I can lead in my own way. And I can do it when I have to I don't have to I can share that responsibility. So I've seen a lot of interest in Wilson getting to know his pitching staff. I mean, he skipped playing in the World Baseball Classic this year. Obviously, he really wanted to represent Venezuela, but him doing that was one of the first things Adam Wainwright said to me. He's like, I'm kind of being a hypocrite here, but Wilson not going to the WBC and staying and learning what he can about his pitching staff and improving his defense with the club, that's a great sign. This clubhouse is really bought in, and it's funny. If you went around the clubhouse before the Cardinals signed Contreras, the general consensus in that group probably would have agreed with Erik. They didn't like him very much. But the overall thoughts about Contreras has completely done a 180. They are completely on board, and I think both sides can feed off that energy.
Well, I appreciate you agreeing with me and AJ taking my words out of context. But I want to hear.
You can run that back if you want.
Taking my words out of context, but it's okay. We'll run it back. We're being recorded here. What is a fear? What is a fear from that clubhouse when you sign a guy that's never caught more than 116 games? When you're replacing, obviously the biggest fear is he's got to replace Yadier Molina. But we just talked about Anthony Volpe replacing Derek Jeter. Like, he's not he has to be himself. What's the biggest fear when they signed him? What you hear from the fan base, from even from players?
No, you're right. And a big concern about the front office was, can this guy catch the majority of games? Because they were looking for a catcher hybrid position that could DH, maybe play some first base, maybe play some outfield. They were looking for a starting catcher. They have not had to do that in 2 decades. So this was a big decision for Mo and the rest of the front office. And that was their biggest fear when they asked Contreras at their meeting that they had before the winter meetings that ultimately led to him signing with St. Louis. And they said, how many games could you catch? Like, what are you looking for? And Contreras said he wanted to do upwards of 130. And that sounds like a lot, especially as you mentioned, Erik, where, he hasn't caught more than 116. But that's, I think, going to be the biggest test for the Cardinals and for Contreras, is how can they maximize his production at catcher? Because Andrew Knizner is fine as a reserve. He's really respected in the clubhouse. He's very knowledgeable with the pitching staff. But all he wants a catcher that can hit. With all respect to Yadier Molina, probably in the Hall of Fame, potentially first ballot. That offensive production from his spot over the last 3 seasons was not good. So for Contreras, I think they are willing to kind of balance out a lack of assuredness in how many games he can catch, knowing that he is going to hit and be a staple offensively for that lineup. When you look at that Cardinals lineup offensively, dare I say, it looks pretty good. I think they could potentially have a top 5 offense in baseball this year, and that kind of alleviates a little bit of the fear that Contreras won't be as durable behind the plate.
So Katie, Erik already banged on Contreras about him coming over to the Cardinals. Now Contreras has to deal with the starting pitching and the pitching staff of the Cardinals. The 5 starters, I argued with him, are pretty solid when they're healthy. Wainwright, Flaherty, Matt. Scott too.
You've argued a ton with me.
Yeah.
AJ thinks that they have the best rotation on the planet.
I did not say that. I said they are above average
on the whole planet.
On the entire planet, there's one rotation.
1 through 5, their rotation is very solid. Wainwright, Michaelis, Flaherty, Matt, Montgomery.
Hurt.
Okay, he's going to miss some time. But I'm saying when they're healthy, like you guys argued. So, Katie, tell me why I'm right, and then explain to them why they are wrong.
That's a great way to phrase that question. I'm actually going to use that with Ollie to start the press conference, and we're going to see how he goes. I think he'll really like it.
Hey, I mean, think about it, though, for you. You said this Cardinals team has a very solid starting rotation. We talked about this last week, Katie. My response was, I think that is the weak point of the St. Louis Cardinals ball club right now. Offense looks pretty solid. Defense, exceptional. Bullpen looks pretty good, too. There's some fire in there. Starting rotation-wise, it's not super deep, and it's also not super swing and miss at a time when I think more baseballs are going to get through the infield. Your thoughts on why I'm right?
It's so funny because I feel like both of you guys are right, and I still think there's a problem with the starting rotation. Yes, they're very solid. Even with Wainwright out, Jake Woodford has been a pretty exciting young, not a prospect anymore, but young guy for them that really improved this spring. But solid to describe a starting rotation is, I mean, with no disrespect to these guys, I think Miles Michaelis is probably one of the more underrated starting pitchers in baseball. But I had someone put it to me this way. They asked me, okay, Cardinals are in a best-of-3 playoff game. Who are their 1-2 that are taking the hill? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because you could go Matz, you could go Montgomery, maybe Michaelis. And they're like, that's a problem. If you don't have a 1-2 like combo starter firehouse, then that's a problem for your rotation. And I was like, oh, you know what? That does make sense. I'm not too worried about the Cardinals rotation. I do agree that it is their probably weakest point of their roster. But what they do have that they haven't had in years is durability. Miles Michaelis did not miss a start last year, neither did Jordan Montgomery. I think those two, maybe because they're not super flashy, high strikeout guys, they kind of get overlooked in what they can do for a rotation. What I do think will be their game changer. It's not going to be the guy that, like, I feel like everyone's like Jack Flaherty can be a game changer, and he absolutely can. But I think what's really going to make or break this rotation is Steven Matz, because when the Cardinals signed him for $44 million last year, they expected him to take the hill or take the mound almost, every single time he was available. And he had 2 separate injuries and he wasn't able to do that. But when he was healthy, he looked really good. He also looked really good this spring. So I'm excited to see what Matz can do. I know none of these names really like strike fear. Like, you're not going to roll out someone like Steven Matz and have the same reaction as Max Scherzer, right? But I do think the durability and the experience of the rotation is a plus in their positive direction. But the lack of swing and miss, and I think just the lack of overpowering stuff is a concern. The Cardinals do have one of the best defenses in the game. They also can still position pretty smartly, just even though they can't really shift anymore. There is a way to position against, use the metrics and give your defense the best shot. So we'll see. I will say, maybe this is my hot take of the first half. The Cardinals have plenty of depth to swing for a trade at the deadline, and I could definitely see them going that route if they need to in terms of bolstering up the rotation.
So, before you go, Katie, you can't see Scott. Scott's sitting next to me. When you said Steven Matz, his face was like,
well,
yeah,
no, based on
what?
Steven Matz?
Wait, Kratz, we also have a group chat that we do the whole show too, Katie, and I made the face that Kratz can't see, and it's not against your take, it's against and Steven, I actually looked. He's had more durable seasons than I remember. Yeah, 2018, 30 starts. 2019, 30 starts. 2020, obviously, was 2020. And he was, I think, hurt for some of it. Maybe not. 9 starts. And 6 starts. 29 starts in 2021. And then last year, he made 10 starts. Did he make 5 appearances out of the bullpen last year?
He did. He was coming back. He tore his ACL fielding a grounder on his first game back. His last pitch of the day. Little comebacker towards ACL, but he was able to come back within less than 2 months, but obviously wasn't stretched out to start at that point. So he was a late inning, long relief guy. So
Kratz, what did you say in the group chat?
No, those numbers, I should have looked up the numbers before I said it. I said he always feels like he's hurt.
I got you guys.
I mean,
that's why he's an under the radar pick.
Nice. Yeah. I like it.
That's fair.
I like that.
But still, how much better is the Brewers rotation? Because when you say to me, let's say the Brewers sneak in as a wild card and you go, who's pitching game 1? I'm like, instead of like, who is it? I'm like, is it Woodruff? Is it Burns? I think Peralta's going to have a huge year. So I'm like, I'll go Burns, then Woodruff, then Peralta, who I think is going to have a huge season if he stays on the mound and fresh. Your thoughts on how much of a difference there is there? I know the Cardinals probably have a huge advantage in some other categories, but to me, that's why it's not just like an easy book it. This team's running away with the division.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen what Corbin Burns has done to the Cardinals. They cannot figure him out. So that's already a +1 for Milwaukee. But I do think both teams have a little bit of questions in their starting rotation. And because of that, I think we can kind of balance them out in terms of making a wash there. But I think the Cardinals just overpower Milwaukee in a lot of other aspects. I do agree that the Cardinals, they have to prove a lot of things. This isn't going to be a division. I know the NL Central isn't super competitive. This is no NL East. But I would hesitate to say they're going to run away with the division. But I do think they are the favorite. But I will say, I'm not going to say the Cubs are going to win the NL Central, but I wouldn't count them out. I think they're going to be a lot better than people expect. So I'd be interested to see how the Cubs and the Brewers finish out.
So Katie, you live in St. Louis now, I'm assuming?
I do.
Okay, don't say that out on the best streets that the Cubs have a chance, because they'll kick you right out of St. Louis.
She's a writer. It doesn't matter.
But so I said also on the show that, and I believe this, the Cardinals have a better chance of winning this division by double digits than they do of not winning this division. I mean, I feel from your comments that I can see that I think you agree with me. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, I do think they should win the division, right? But it's a long season and a lot has to go right. A lot has to stay healthy. And I just think the way that the Brewers play, they're so scrappy. You can't really count them out until you can't at all. So I agree with you, AJ. I do think that it's the Cardinals division to win. We'll just see. I think because the Brewers know how to play, they have a good offense. I like their players. It'll be a little closer than maybe some people are expecting. I will say the projections that I saw for the total wins in that division, I think one projection had the Cardinals winning 86 games. That is really low to me. I think the Cardinals are going to be around a 95 win team. I don't think the Brewers are going to be that high.
Who besides, now you've said Matz, and besides Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Walker, who is going to be the key to this team that you've seen throughout camp that you're like, oh, this is kind of how it's shaping out and everything?
That's a good question. I want to go like Tyler O'Neill, Lars Nootbaar, international celebrity. I'm sure everyone is getting. I don't know if you can get tired of hearing about Lars Nootbaar because he's such a likable guy with such an infectious personality. But I feel like those are safe choices. I feel like Tyler O'Neill has to hit, and he'll completely transform that lineup. But I'm excited to see what Nolan Gorman can do. He was one of their top prospects last year, called up, had a rocky up and down kind of season as to be expected. We talked about the adjustment to the big leagues. It's tough, but Gorman has this insane pop from the left side that the Cardinals have lacked in their lineup for a while. Because he's so versatile, he can play second base, he can play third base and spell Arenado when he needs a day off from there. And his power, I mean, he had probably one of the most impressive springs in terms of what he did with pitch selection and approach. He can really lay off the high fastball, which he was not able to do last year. He crushes off speeds. It will be really exciting to see how that left-handed bat complements a pretty right-handed heavy lineup in terms of power. All of the rest of the Cardinals power guys come from the right side. So if Gorman can put up the same kind of production from the left, I think I'll feel more confident about my top 5 offense prediction.
Nice. So, Katie, before we let you go, before we do these interviews, I always Google the person and try to find out something about them that most people don't know. So the books, Katie Woo, are those based on your childhood? Those are based on your childhood. Do you get royalties from those?
I don't get royalties, but some of the titles, although I have no affiliation with the book except for sharing the name, some of the titles are sadly applicable to my life. Like one that my uncle got me, which was so nice. It was like No Valentines for Katie Woo. And he was like, thought about you for so many reasons. So it just depends on the title. There are some really good ones. Basically, if it's like a positive title, not for me. Anything with a negative connotation where it's like, oh, bad day for her. Those I think you can kind of base on my life a little bit.
That's great.
That's amazing. Well, you don't even get like a Twitter mention every once in a while, like read your book. My child was inspired. Like I have the same name as Justin Bieber's manager. It used to be, I think, Taylor Swift's manager. That actually is what causes some mean tweets nowadays. Scooter Braun, but his name's Scott. And we've talked about this, Scooter and I.
Oh yeah, I know Scooter Braun. I'm a Taylor girl.
So right? So you're probably on the Taylor side of this conversation. Do you ever get like a, hey, great job, really appreciate it? Because you guys are both, I mean, you're both writers. So there's like, for me, I'm not in music. I like music, but it doesn't make sense. And now I get to respond to it and be like, you sure? Or wrong dude? Have you ever gotten a parent being like, hey, love your books?
No, not a parent, but a lot of Cardinals fans will DM the books to me and be like, wow, saw this at a bookstore and thought of you, which I think is really cute. But again, it goes back to the title. I'm judging them by which title they send to me. It better only be a positive one.
I agree. All positive vibes from Katie. That was a good call, though.
So they only, I'm assuming, DM you the positive ones because it's not going to be like Katie Woo wrote a crappy article in The Athletic. I'm pretty sure
oh my gosh, that's going to be their next book. Another bad article by Katie Woo.
That's good. Hey, Katie, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it and the support for the show. We love having you on at some point again, of course, as the season rolls on. And happy almost opening day to you.
You got it, guys. Anytime you need me, I'll be around. Happy almost opening day. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you. Katie Woo from The Athletic. That was fun.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and
learn a lot from these. Like I enjoy talking to the reporters.
That's why we're doing it.
But you know
day.
What's also great about it is they're not used to getting asked a lot of questions, right? Because the players, like as a player, and Kratz will tell me this, you don't talk to the reporters and say like, "Hey, what do you like to do?" or "What do you think?" They're always asking all the questions.
They
right?
get fan questions,
but
Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah, but this is more of like we get to see their personalities, and they get to like she was talking about like the books, like her uncle was like, "Oh, Katie Woo had a bad day," and he's like, "I remember when you didn't have a Valentine." Like, I mean, it's cool stuff like that. And then she tells the story of like when she came up to like Jordan Walker's shoulder, like stuff
How
like that.
tall he is. Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing that we do here is we're an open book. So I think some writers, I don't want to say aren't used to that, 'cause the Athletics, what makes the Athletics so great is they're an open book, right? They can say whatever they want. They're not restricted by anything. It's kind of like independent and journalistic. But I think a lot of times when you make an appearance on, especially like on a TV show, it's just so much more PG. You also don't necessarily have as much time, but Kratzy knows what I'm talking about. Like there's so much like basic questioning that goes on when it comes to certain sports media, like in general, right? Like, because whether it's you got to be PG, you don't have a lot of time.
Time is the biggest thing.
Time is a huge thing. You're like, okay, quick, tell me about this, and you don't really get to dive into it. There's a difference between that and having like a 4-hour radio show. I like to think that we're somewhat in between those two slots. And it's the same thing with players, Kratzy, I mean, there's some players that we've spoken to, because obviously we have guys on every day, and they're like, yo, is this a podcast? And they ask that because they're like, yeah, I did one, and they kept me on for an hour and a half. Like, it's the season. I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah, you don't have time for it. But back to the whole, like, Katie Woo, like, just her insight from year to year, being able to watch the Cardinals. AJ and I, Scott, we're all big baseball fans. But what she sees every day, I think, is such great insight, and sometimes can be skewed based on how organizations want to like sell prospects to their reporters. But I think now, being with the Athletic and not just necessarily only with the Cardinals, I think it gives everybody a much better view of what an organization has with a player, and some fears and some like realistic, like, oh, I wonder where they're going to sit. I mean, those writers, they are so into the season. I'm not saying they're hoping they win or lose. I'm saying that they're so into the season. You heard her say at the beginning, she's like, oh, I'm taking a breather here before opening day. She knows it's about to be a 162-day sprint.
Oh, she cares. Her life is better if they win.
No, enough. I'm not getting into that again. I'm not doing that every.
Good. So
I'm not doing that
right.
multiple times a week. No, I'm
Just
tired.
once.
It's tired. I'm gonna read the ticker. There's another MLB rule change, and nobody's talking about it. ... Until today. We'll slice it up. We're about to do that. Okay. Right before we get to that, I just wanted to point out I was contributing to the ticker during the show today, and I just saw it pass through. So I appreciate the ticker squad for hooking me up.
What'd you write?
The Cardinals now have their fight squad ready. 6'5" Jordan Walker, fiery Nolan Arenado, and don't at me Wilson Contreras.
What
That's
about
a tough
Goldie?
group.
I wouldn't want Goldie getting a hold of me either.
Yeah, Goldie's a big
Tyler
dude.
O'Neill was Mr. Canada's
Tyler
dad.
O'Neill.
Tyler
Listen,
O'Neill's got bigger biceps than you.
we have to do the top 5 all fight squad. I remember there was a time period where it was like Judge was there and Giancarlo. I mean, Judge and Giancarlo have been on the Yanks for a while, but it was also like Dellin Betances is enormous. He's like 6'8", and he's pretty built. He's not like a skinny 6'8".
I want the first pick.
You were a first pick?
No, I want the first pick.
You want the first pick for all fight squad?
Tommy Pham.
Oh, I didn't know we're going that way, but that way is good too. I was going to talk about which teams you don't want to mess with, but player-wise for all fight squad. This is good. I'm going to keep both of those. We will get to both of those. I'm a big fan of the all fight squad for MLB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no fights anymore, so it doesn't matter.
No, there are. There are fights sometimes,
Man.
but the fights are more just like guys looking at each other, saying stuff, and then
Or
waiting.
Sean Rodriguez running around the back yelling at everybody while there's 45 guys in front of him.
Well,
And then, I'm going to fight you, man!
Everyone's waiting to be held back.
I can't even see you back there.
They
Hurry up,
go
hold me back.
this. They're like, is someone going to grab me? Because
Yeah.
I'm yelling really hard right
Hurry
now.
up, someone grab me. Oh, someone hold me back, please. You're holding me back.
They put the arms back
Yeah.
like this. Like, okay, here, I'm giving you the arms. Go ahead, grab away.
Yeah.
Yasiel
Kratzy
Puig
knows.
was big into that. He did slap Hundley, but Puig was big into that. He was big into like say something and then he gets real boisterous once it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not messing with Puig. That is a big boy. But
Yeah.
he was big into like talking a lot heavier once a lot more people were out there.
No, there's the Rougned Odor was real.
That was a real, yeah. And listen, I've been hit.
That was a
get it.
haymaker.
I've been hit before.
You've been hit.
It didn't hurt, but I mean, he tried.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, listen, I've been in fights. I had Miguel Oliva one time. He got hit with the bases loaded. Thought we were throwing at him. Well, I mean, that's enough right there.
You need to have
But he charges the mound, and I grab him, like I grab him from behind, and our pitcher DJ Carrasco has his glove, and he just pats him on the head. I'm like, and then everyone's going crazy in Kansas City, and I'm behind the mound, and I see Olivo coming around, and I duck. Me and Jose Guillen are like this, just holding each other, and I go, oh no, and I duck, and Olivo jumps over the mound, tries to hit me, and he hits Jose Guillen, knocks him down.
Friendly fire?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Right? And then I'm like, why is he trying to hit me? I didn't throw at him. And I told DJ Carrasco, I said, listen, DJ, the dude charges the mound, and I grab him, and I lock, because I come from behind, and I got him. I'm like, you hit him. Like, you hit him. Don't pat him on the head and say, nice to see you. Like, that's your shot. You got one shot. That's it.
For you. Yeah. You laid it up for him.
I mean, you're talking about, I had him like, I got him right behind. I mean, I had him like this, and he was not going anywhere.
Jeez.
And then
That's a big boy, too.
I know. That dude, that's
Olivo
the guy I
is a
wouldn't mess
big
with
boy.
right there. Olivo.
Yeah, I
100%.
agree.
Crazy strong and crazy.
Okay, so let's get back to the rules now, because there's another new MLB rule change coming up. And I will say I actually like most of them. So I just think the intricacies of it are going to be probably the story of the sport for at least the first month of the season, especially with the pitch clock. But let's get to instant replay review. Now, what's going to change here is less bullshit, basically, from managers, because how often would they give you that? First, they had time. 10, 15 seconds usually after a play happens. Then it would be like the hold to the hold up, one sec. I'm thinking about challenging. And then it was kind of a rough, 20-ish seconds or so, sometimes even more. Wait for replay review to go through 90 angles. And then they would think about it. And then they would say, okay, that's about to change. It is going to be significantly quicker. Jason Stark of The Athletic putting out the article today. He also said the umpires are saying this is a big deal, because you haven't seen this in spring training. That's what's crazy. It's like, here starts the season, and now we're going to deal with instant replay review rules. So managers now need to immediately signal if they're thinking about challenging. That's correct. Get used to the Heisman, just like what AJ's doing right now. The prior rule was about 10 seconds. Like I said, it was rarely enforced. Now it's immediately signal, and then you have 15 seconds to make a decision on if you would like to challenge or not. And the challenge will stay the same. You get one challenge, you win, you keep it, so you can keep rolling with that. But the difference is going to be, you're not going to be able to rely on your what do they call it? The quality control person as much. It's so fast.
Because here's the problem. You can't you can't even get the bench coach to walk over to the phone, walk down the steps, pick up the phone, and then the guy answer as he's trying to watch the video, because they have like a little frame by frame thing they can watch in the video room. There's not even enough time for the bench coach, for the manager to go, stop. Bench coach, go check. By the time he gets down there, calls, the video guy's like, and his job's on the line. Challenge, boom. Okay, challenge, and then everyone's in a panic, right? It's not enough time. Like, we need, and the biggest thing is, and I read this article that some of the managers are saying that every play is going to be challenged now, because you're just going to throw challenges out there. But the biggest problem I have with the replay is, it wasn't meant to be like when a guy overslides, it's clearly safe, and he comes off the base by like this far, and they're like, ow.
But they're trying to remove that. The way to remove that is not looking at 90 angles.
No, I like
also,
that.
when you say challenge, no, every play is going to be a hold up, let me think about challenge.
Yes. Because anything that's halfway close, you can be like, Erik, nope, do not start it. And who's the first manager that's going to get ejected arguing this rule?
Buck Showalter.
That was what I was thinking, Buck Showalter.
Bing, 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 Buck Showalter. Rob Thompson will be the last, because in the article, Kratzy, your boy Tommy, Topper, said he basically does the Heisman for a ton of plays anyway. He's a big hold up. I'm not the guy to go off of here, so I'm just going to wait for quality control to quickly give me the yes or the no. So he might end up doing that like 20, 30 times a game.
Calitri leads the league in running to the phone. There's other people that run to the phone on every play, and it's 15 seconds is quick. When I yelled stop there while AJ was talking, I started the clock when AJ started talking. 15 seconds is quick. You might not even be able to get a second view. You might only be able to get the first view in.
So they're basically trying to make it for only blatant calls.
That's not necessarily bad. I'm curious to see how that goes. I don't like that.
There's gonna have
It
to be
wasn't
some
made for the
adjustments.
ticky-tack where we're looking so closely that we can't determine. So they're hoping that some of that challenging will go away, as opposed to he beat him by a step. This is ridiculous. Challenge it and let's play on.
But I also, in the article that Jason Stark wrote, the average challenge was 1:30, I think is what he said.
1:31.
And there was one challenge every other game. So it's not like I think we feel like it happens a lot.
Yeah, we're
let's
complaining
give some
too
umpires
much.
some due that they obviously make a lot of the right calls. So there's one challenge every other game, and it costs you a minute and a half. I think the system that we have in place is pretty good.
It is. They have to make the adjustment based on the pitch clock, though. You can't wait that long anymore between batters.
Okay, so how many managers? Well, yeah, I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
But before, I guess they had to make the rule because how many managers have been like, hold on, wait, let me give my pitcher a breather.
They're going to do that every play. They might try to do that every play.
True.
But because you only have 15 seconds, it doesn't matter.
But when does the pitch clock start? After the manager just says no, go, when they all go like this, play on?
When they start it again?
Do they start it then, or is it when he puts his hand up?
Need a lot of rule clarifications.
Need a clarification.
An umpire on here. Can we get Teddy Barrett or somebody back on here?
Yeah, we can get another ump. We should get an ump later this week, either opening day or day after. We'll just put the pressure on Mark and the crew behind the scenes.
One of the things I want to delve into was put on our rundown here. It says here, Buck Showalter was 79% correct last year, which was the best.
Correct.
I heard from it's not the same guy with the Mets, but I'm sure Buck handles it the same way, from the Orioles video replay guy, that he would get absolutely berated if he would call down and be wrong. So he wouldn't ever call down. And Buck was never challenging things, because he was like, he would get on the phone, or he would get on the phone after he would be wrong. He'd be like, are you kidding me? And just ripping him a new one on the phone while the next play is going on. So he's like, I never called back. He said, nope, don't challenge it. He's right.
Well, Buck's tough. There's no doubt. Buck's going to tell it like it is. But the thing is, he made the replay review guy last year for him famous by being so accurate and giving him credit all the time. Anytime Buck was right after the game, he would call him out. His name's Harrison Friedland. He worked for the league in the replay center for 4 years. So that's where you want to go. You bring a guy in from the league on your side. He's already doing that. He's well-trained, and Buck loves him. So I bet you if we had a side conversation with Buck at spring training right now, whoever it is, the guy you're talking about, Kratzy, he'd probably rail him. He'd probably be like, yeah, that guy was terrible. Now I got Friedland. He's a superstar. He's the LeBron of replay reviews.
Nobody knows the replay guy's name until they screw up. And then the manager's like, Scott Braun, he told me to challenge it, and I was wrong and wasted my challenge. Then everyone's like, damn, who the hell's Scott Braun? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's the manager for Justin Bieber. I'm going to DM him on Twitter. Scooter Braun.
Yeah, but now there's a lot more pressure on managers. Because you
there's a lot more pressure on the bench coach to get down to the phone to make sure they can.
A lot more pressure on everyone. You know what? It's good. I want to see the coaches hustle a little more. Yeah, I want to see
you want old men a little bit out
of shape. They don't
shape
have to be old men out of shape. I mean, they might get kicked out. They might not be able to manage anymore, because the thing is, if you're not in shape, just like the bat boys and the bat girls now is what I've read and heard, you could get the boot from the sport. Everybody needs to have a quick 40-yard dash. Terrible.
So we're gonna have to start we should have a combine for coaches and managers. Like the bench coach, how fast can he get up and down the steps and call? And then the video guy, how quick can he answer and be like, yes, challenge or no? And then gonna have bat boys like running 40 times back and forth, like to get the bats to make sure they can stay. Man, those bad boys are going to be worn out.
We're looking for athletes. That's the thing.
Bad boys and bad girls. I'm sorry. I feel bad for y'all.
Have you ever been a bat boy? As a kid? No?
When would I have been a bad boy?
As a kid. Like I did it once for the local minor league team. I was a bat boy. I wanted to try it out. You're looking at me like I asked you like the world's dumbest question.
Kratz, were you a bat boy when you grew up?
Did you ever get in trouble? Did you ever get in trouble when you were a minor leaguer with the Twins and you had to go to field 3 and pick up the bats during minor league camp? Like you showed up late? That was always the punishment. No. You had to go and be the bat boy for the minor league field 3 game, the low A versus low A break your bat league.
No, I never did that. No, I never had to do that.
AJ looked at me like, do you know who I am?
No, I'm like, why would I have been a bat boy?
When you're 16 years old or something, if there was like a local minor league team or spring training, there's a ton of high schoolers that'll go spring training. They'll pop over and do a little bat boy action and get to hang with the big leaguers. Sorry that you're too good for that.
No, I'm not saying that, but At no point was that even I mean, would I have loved to have when the Braves?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked. You know everyone. I didn't know you were only all hooked up name dropping after you played in the big leagues.
Wait,
I didn't know growing up you weren't as big of a
the
deal.
least amount of names. You said Scooter Brown. You said
Ultra.
some other guy. I mean, you've dropped like 6 names. I haven't dropped one name.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to take the title for at least 1 week.
Okay.
All right. So anyway,
the simple answer is no. Hell no.
Okay, fair. But anyway, I think that'll be interesting to keep an eye on.
What team is gonna have the first bat boy fired for not being fast enough?
What's a strict team?
I don't. It's gonna be
the
like
A's. They're gonna fire him. Just to fire him.
No, they're gonna fire him because it's so damn far from the dugout to home plate. They're gonna need an oxygen mask because they're gonna be sprinting back and forth.
It's gonna be like winter ball. You never played in winter ball, right, AJ?
Nope. Skip that too. Thanks, Scott.
Foul balls. Foul balls. The one stadium, the Gigantes, San Francisco de Gigantes. Their ball boy was different than their bat boy, but he would stand there with his mago guante, his magic glove, and he was like 4'10", and he would wait for a foul ball to hit off the screen, and it wasn't like one of those screens where it like rolls down. It was just your standard backstop screen. And it would hit, and he would sprint to try to catch the ball off the screen. It was epic. The whole stadium, when the lights wouldn't turn out because of power outages, the stadium would go crazy when he would catch the ball. It was definitely a spectacle.
We'll have to take AJ to a Winter League game sometime.
I just kind of was at one, and it was the World Baseball Classic. I feel like those are
that's a souped up version.
Well, I like the souped up version.
No, I like the majestic version of it where you're like really ingrained in the community, seeing the Winter League games. Yep. Seriously, I haven't been. I want to go too.
Yeah,
I haven't
been.
We
gotta go.
I don't travel much.
If you'll pay for me to go to Dominican Republic for a week, I mean, I'm all in.
We might.
We're going. We're going. Whole family. Let's talk to Mark about it. Whole family's going.
Punta Cana. We can stay at Punta Cana. We can go play Teeth of the Dog. Teeth of the Dog. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Mark.
Eat some street meat.
Oof.
Need that.
Well, we might be. He said book it. We might be able to if we do well with our futures picks. So let's do them. Now that we're leading up to opening day, and we'll be betting on games every day for you too, hooking you up. But we have picks to do for the next 3 days. We're going to do AL today. I believe we'll do NL tomorrow. And we'll do some World Series and playoffs and player predictions Wednesday when Frazier's back because he's like, don't let me miss out on throwing some money down. How you doing? Futures bets, AL Central winners. So let's go cover each division. And even if you're not throwing down money, this is still just covering your division. So it's still very relevant. So let's leave it here so I can tell everyone on the podcast side too that are just listening. Cleveland's plus 125. They're the favorite to win the division. Minnesota's plus 200. White Sox plus 250. Detroit or Kansas City, if you're really bold, put down 100, you win 3,000. But really, it's put down 100, and you can rip up.
Just give
the
me
paper.
your 100 instead.
Yeah,
for Detroit,
give
just
us
give
the
me
100.
And
yeah.
I'll find another better way to spend it.
3,000 is actually less than I anticipate. I thought it would be at least plus 5,000 for KC.
I tell you what, you give me your 100 that you're going to bet on those two, and I'll go figure out.
You can do anything with it because it's the same difference. I mean, you're basically just giving money away.
Yes.
So let's start there. And how do you want to do this? I'll let you guys, dealer's choice here. Do you want to go division by division and pick a winner?
Yeah.
Or do you want to just look at all of them and then give me your picks in general?
I say we go division by division and pick a winner. And then at the end, we'll have to pick 3 wild cards.
Correct. Okay. So let's do Central first. Go ahead.
Guardians for me.
Is it easy or did you have to think about it?
A little bit. I thought about it because I'm not sure their pitching will be as good as it was last year. And I'm not totally sold on their offense. But I think because of Tito Francona and because of the experience they gained last year, I think it's a little bit more obvious than you would think. But I think Cleveland wins this division. But I think it's close. I think it's close between the 3 teams at the top.
Kratzy?
Minnesota. I'm going to go Minnesota wins, and it was tough for me, but I definitely think there's some things, just some question marks. There's question marks with every team. Let's be honest, but I do like AJ saying, Tito is a big part of that team, and if Cleveland, when they have issues, when young guys don't live up to the hype. He's a guy that'll be quick at like, hey, snapping it up. And you just don't have that, like, you don't have that huge lull where they lose 7 out of 10, 15 out of 20. You know, he keeps those guys when they're going bad, it's 500. And when they're going good, watch out. I'm going Minnesota.
You have Minnesota. Okay. No, that's good to know.
So forget all that positive stuff about Cleveland. I'm still going to go Minnesota.
Yeah, and he might have him as a wild card. Okay. Stay tuned for 3 minutes from now. I had by far the most struggles on this one in terms of Cleveland or Minnesota, because I'm also like, second place in this division might not make the playoffs, right? So I am sticking with Cleveland. And also, books-wise, people are going hard on Cleveland. Like, I mean, you see that in a variety of spots, like, but this, I would say in the AL Central, it's a really heavy. I'm trying to find the stats here as I go.
Nothing on my White Sox. No love for my White Sox.
0 love for your White Sox. Okay, here
you can change your pick, AJ.
I'm not changing my pick, but I'm just saying. I thought one of you guys would at least say, "Man, the White Sox have a chance to compete."
Not even a consideration.
You guys both said they suck.
Nope, I'm good. 69% of the handle is on Cleveland. That is a heavy number. Puts high liability on Vegas on the books, like MGM. We're getting the odds from. They don't want Cleveland. There's so much betting.
They want Detroit
for Cleveland.
They want Kansas City.
Really anything, but yes. Or the White Sox. I bet you there's not a heavy handle on the White Sox. If I broke it down,
short sold them.
Well, you didn't just go out there and
division,
pick
but
them.
There's wild cards coming.
Okay. So for me, yeah, the problem I have is I'm like, the loser, the second place in this division might not make the postseason at all. And I do like Minnesota to bounce back. I mean, we've been fooled many times by Buxton staying on the field, but when he is healthy, he's incredible. And I think they're going to DH him a lot, especially early on this season. I think rotation-wise, if you remember last year, I did quite a few Minnesota games last year because the league would always give them for us for the YouTube game of the week. Like, no one went more than like 5 innings, an occasional like Sonny Gray start, but now it's very different from what it looked like.
You mean they're going to pitch 6 innings?
Yeah, they might pitch
Rocco this? Because Rocco does not like that.
Yeah, but Rocco also, I had plenty of conversations with him. They didn't feel confident third time through with the guys they had. Pablo Lopez can get through a lineup third time through. Tyler Mahle sometimes can get through a third time through. And he was, I think he was kind of hurt at the end of last year. Yeah. I like his stuff.
Kenta Maeda.
Maeda's back. It's a much better looking rotation.
Sonny Gray.
Year 2 of Joe Ryan.
Be healthy.
Sonny Gray's there. It's a better rotation.
I agree.
In my mind. And that's the difference to me. I think Correa is going to be a man on fire coming off the contract. That's still a huge contract, but it's not what he thought. I love Christian Vasquez. I think he's one of the most underrated catchers in the sport. That was a great signing.
So you're picking Minnesota?
No, I'm just giving you why I had problems here. Miranda. No, for me, Cleveland.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that I have, in addition to them not losing anything, and they're young and they play a flavor of baseball that I think will match well with the rules, which we talked to Mandy Bell about, is that they have a top 5, I believe it is, rankings wise. And if not, it's ranking in my mind, prospect pipeline.
So wait, hold on. Did Ahmed Rosario, did he get an extension? Because at one time
there
was a big announcement that he got like 6 years, 108 million or something.
Nope.
That's
crap. Not him. Nope.
That's a different Ahmed Rosario?
Yeah.
Plays for Cleveland?
Cleveland's not giving 100+ to anybody besides Jose Ramirez right now. So no, he didn't get anything. He'll be a free agent after this year. But Daniel Espino, Gavin Williams, I don't know how to, Tanner Bibby, I think is how you say the last name. But there's a number of guys in their top 10, system-wise, pitching-wise, that are going to come up this year, and you're going to be like, who the hell is this guy? Another one coming out of either the bullpen or the rotation for Cleveland. So I like their rotation as is. I think McKenzie's going to have a strong year. I think Bieber's going to be better than last year. So I'm going Cleveland as my pick. All right, let's go to the next division, please. AL East winner. Yankees plus 115. Blue Jays plus 190. Tampa Bay, you put down 100. If they win, you win 350. And then Boston at plus 2,000. Baltimore at plus 2,500. This was what was interesting to me from MGM on the AL East. Biggest liability for them, as in if a team ends up winning, it'll cost them the most?
Baltimore.
Boston, 32% of the ticket, which means 32% of bets placed down of the 5 we're looking at right now going to Boston, and 30% of the handle.
That's amazing, because every Boston, I know a lot of Red Sox fans, and they're all like, man, the team sucks. They stink. We're going to finish in last place. Like, every one of them, there hasn't even been one that's like, man, I really have hope for this team. So, wow. All right, Red Sox fans, represent.
Your picks?
Kratz, you go first, since I had to go first last time.
Yankees.
Yankees.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, that
They'll
seems
run
pretty.
away with it.
I don't know about running.
They're going to run away with it. I've got Toronto. Okay.
I don't think they're
I've
going to
got the
run
Blue
away. I
Jays.
don't think they're going to run away with it, but I think they have too much. And the interesting
6
thing,
games.
Okay. The interesting,
That's not running away.
That's not running away?
What
10 plus
constitutes
is
running away?
10
plus?
Okay.
But the Baltimore down there on the bottom, because they were sneaky good last year, people forget. And they got another year with Rushman. They got Gunnar Henderson. They got some guys, that now the guys didn't make some big names for them didn't make the club, which is, Grayson Rodriguez. So that's a big deal because he's like their super prospect. But Baltimore at 2,500, Scott, you give me 100, I'll put down 100 for you on the Orioles. But I still think Yankees
This
win
is
the division.
not win-loss over-under. This is
win the
who's
division.
going to win the division.
I
You
just
think
said
you're going to – I will
okay,
give you
the
better
Yankees
odds.
rotation right now is in shambles. I know it. Jose Trevino. So.
I'm not picking the Yankees. You guys pick the Yankees.
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm saying if you're going to make a bet, I'd bet on the Orioles over the Red Sox.
I think the Blue Jays are going to win this division.
Okay, well,
another year of Alek Manoah, Kevin Gausman. I haven't liked the inconsistency of Jose Barrios, but they're not relying on him anymore. Chris Bassett, great addition to the team. Kikuchi couldn't have been worse than he was last year. Apparently has looked pretty good in spring. Ryu. And then I think the bullpen looks pretty good enough. And the defense, and here's why the pitching will be better. The defense is significantly better in my mind this year, especially the outfield defense. Okay. Kevin Kiermaier is going to make a huge difference for this team. It puts Springer in a corner. They get the full season of Whit Merrifield. I think Vladdy Jr. is going to be better than he was last year. He was good. Remember, we talked to John Schneider about it. He was good last year, but he wasn't 2021 Vladdy Jr. So got Bo Bichette having a big year, carrying what he did from September. I think it'll be super close, but I think the Blue Jays are going to take it.
Okay.
I don't think
you can be wrong.
You can't look at that, though, and also say, he's so off.
I didn't say that. I said you can be wrong, though.
Yeah.
I was just going to question the whole Kiermaier taking over for Springer. Like, Springer wasn't an awful center fielder, and Kiermaier's not vintage Kiermaier.
Do you think Kevin Kiermaier you think George Springer's a better center fielder right now than Kevin Kiermaier? No,
I'm not. I'm just saying I don't think there's a huge upgrade. You were talking about
it's an upgrade if you put Springer in the corner and you also keep him on the field more, and he can still do a little center field, but now Kiermaier gives them that ability to be able to play Springer in the corner.
Kiermaier or Teoscar Hernandez?
Fair.
That was going to be my argument then.
I mean, no offense to Kiermaier, he can catch a ball, but
he runs hard down the first.
That hitting thing seems to be a little bit.
Yeah, but they had
sometimes.
run prevention issues.
Okay, they also got to score runs because their pitching staff isn't. Their pitching staff isn't.
They're
quite
going to score runs.
But they have better defense. They're going to score runs. Alejandro Kirk. That's
but Teoscar was a reason they were scoring runs too.
Yes, he was one of the reasons. That's fair. I think the offense is going to have enough.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
It'll be fun to watch.
Will be better this
sure.
year.
It's going to be interesting.
I think last year.
For me, that's the hardest one to pick for me.
The AL East?
Yeah.
And who was second for you? The Blue Jays?
Blue Jays.
Okay. That's why I'm making my case here. For me, I think that last year people were obsessed with Toronto. They're going to win the division, sleeper pick, World Series, blah, blah, blah. And I just think it was like a year early, and I'm going post-type. I'm a post-type guy.
Okay.
I'm not hearing as much about them this year as I was last year. So AL West. Houston minus 190. Seattle plus 300. Angels plus 800. Texas plus 1,000. See, this is where I thought KC or Detroit would be. Not this
25,000.
but you put down $100. You give AJ $100. He won't give it back to you. But if somehow every team loses every player on their roster this year, I still think there's a chance AAA Houston probably takes down Oakland. But if you put down $100, you would win 25 Gs. And the biggest liability for MGM is the Oakland A's.
Yeah,
there is somebody out there.
They ain't
who put
building
down
a new casino every week because people are winning on the Oakland A's. I promise you that.
Yeah, but somebody must have thrown down on the Oakland A's just in case.
Some
because
drunk
the odds
dude
are
in
crazy.
Vegas was like, "Oh, $100, I'm an A's fan." He was that drunk in a Raiders game. Was like, $100.
$100. It's way more than that if they're the liability. I mean, somebody clearly, or a collection of people, put down enough money that it's going to put liability on Vegas. There is a group of people or one that are dumb enough to think that the Oakland A's can win a division this year.
Yeah, because everyone gets drunk and they're like, "Watch this! I'm going to put $10 down on the A's because who cares? It's $10."
So I'm guessing you are not going with Oakland.
I'm not picking it. Go ahead, Scotty. Tell us who you got.
I'm going for it on this one.
No, don't even say that. Don't say the Angels.
I hate the Angels for 10 years. What are you talking about? I'm the biggest Angels hater out there based on the roster construction. Hell no. I'm not putting the Angels to forget that. I'm not putting them to win a wild card. No chance.
Okay.
Seattle Mariners.
Oof.
I like the money play here, and I will be putting some of my own hard-earned cash on the Seattle Mariners to take this division.
Okay.
I don't think it's a runaway by any means. I'm not confident in it, but usually we do have one or two surprises, and this could be one of them. Even though it's not going to be a surprise that Seattle's good, I think it would be a surprise if Seattle takes the division, and I'll go that route. I think I've talked about him a lot. I like the pitching. I like Kirby. I like Gilbert to take another step. Teoscar in Seattle. Bring that bat, baby.
Where hitters go to die, Seattle.
Ty France.
Oof.
I like this team. I like them a lot. And for Houston, Altuve out for a couple months. That hurts. Little post-World Series.
Mm-hmm.
No Justin Verlander. I love the Astros. Great team. I just wouldn't be shocked if Seattle takes, and I could see it being close.
Mm-hmm.
No chance?
No freaking chance. Who we just talked to Jose Trevino, and what did he say? What did Susan Waldman say? Are the Astros still in the league? And he heard it. The Astros go to the World Series every damn year until they lose Bregman, Altuve, Alvarez, who's Alvarez MVP this year. Watch. Alvarez, Maldonado, Jeremy Pena, Tucker. Oh, yeah, they brought in Jose Abreu. Their bullpen's still ridiculous. Oh, they lose Verlander. They replace him with one of those other stud minor league guys they got. I mean, they got Garcia. They got Framber Valdez. They got, what was the guy that pitched the no-hitter? Urquidy. What was the guy that threw the no-hitter in the postseason, the start of the game? Like, nobody can hit.
Yeah.
What is that guy?
He got like 100 innings last year.
Yeah, but talking about Hunter Brown?
No, Montero. The
Montero
guy who started
and Brian Abreu.
The guy who started the game where they threw the no-hitter in the playoffs. He goes six
Christian
innings.
Christian
Javier.
Yeah.
He goes 6 innings, throws in Viz a fastball, Viz a slider, boom, he throws down those no-hitters. Those 6
the
innings.
No-hitter was in the World Series, by the way.
Yeah, but he throws 6 innings. He did it twice last year. Combined no-hitters.
Oh, right, during the season. Yes.
But then in the World Series. But he's like, 6 no-hit innings. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and by the way, we're replacing Justin Verlander with Hunter Brown, who is a clone of Justin Verlander.
Mm-hmm.
With his
But he's not going to be Verlander in year one.
You don't need to be.
No, I know.
He doesn't need to.
Okay, fine.
Until somebody shows me that they can dethrone the Astros, which it ain't going to be this year, there's just too much firepower there. Even without Altuve out for 2 months. They'll have some guy, some
Mauricio Dubon?
He's not the answer.
He's starting.
Well, okay. But they'll find some guy, whether it's Mauricio Dubon or whoever. It's like the Yankees used to always do, or the Red Sox. Somebody would go down and hurt, and they'd call up some guy, and you'd be like, man, this dude for 2 months is the best player on the planet. Where'd he come from? And that's what the Astros do. They just plug the holes, and the next thing you know, they win the division. Then they're in the World Series, and win or lose in the World Series, but they're there every damn year for like 7 years now.
Go ahead, Kratz. You got to put down 190 to win 100 for Houston. Are you going to be $100 richer at the end of the year?
I am. I'm good with $100 richer if I put 190 down. I'm taking Houston for sure. You didn't even mention the fact they got Michael Brantley.
Oh yeah.
Who wasn't even healthy to win the World Series. Like all we talk about on here is like, well, is this guy healthy? This guy, how are they going to be able to supplement? Houston has injuries. They didn't have what team in the playoffs last year loses Michael Brantley and still does what they do? Like they are scary. But we're not picking playoffs yet. So no, division, Houston. Altuve is going to be fresh too, so watch out for the 4 months you do get.
Okay, fine. Wild card teams. I listened. I heard. I just said I'm going for it a little bit this year. Those are my two.
You go for it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the donation.
He likes the plus 300. I see how you do it.
That's the thing. I mean, minus 190. It's not great odds.
Thank you for the donation, Scott.
You're welcome. Blue Jays, Guardians, Mariners for me, and then 3 wild card teams, and then you can give me a where were you close.
Give me quick wild cards.
Yankees.
Okay.
Rays.
Okay.
Astros. That's it. I'm done.
Okay. All right.
And the team that's just on the outside looking in for me that I was close with was Minnesota. That's how I feel.
Okay.
Tell me where I'm wrong. I feel like that in the AL, it's actually pretty easy for who's going to make the postseason. And you have to knock one team if you're trying to find a surprise. I want to give Minnesota a bid, but I couldn't find a spot for them.
Okay.
So that's how I feel.
Okay. Kratzy?
Well, in our everybody wins society, you have to find a spot for Minnesota. They're going to try hard this year. So I have them win the division, so they're definitely in. But I got the Jays, the Guardians, and the Mariners. I think the American League is the haves and the have-nots. I think the White Sox are right in there. They're going to be the one, on the outside looking in. But I'm hoping it's one from each division and not like a East heavy wild card teams. I hope every division is able to push somebody into that wild card, because I think that would be cool, because the Guardians need to make the wild card so that the Yankees can beat them again in the playoffs.
So you don't have the
What
Rays.
about what the Yankees do to the Twins every year in the playoffs?
Yeah,
Rays are
they
out.
wipe them. Rays are out. Any reasoning for that? Because this is a team that's kind of a book it for 90. They'll pitch you to death. Wander, Randy, not enough firepower in the offense for you?
Not enough firepower in the offense, and not enough continue like who's going to anchor the rotation, whatever you call the rotation, the 4 or 5 innings.
McClanahan.
Yeah, McClanahan's a dude.
Outside of McClanahan.
Glasnow
is going to be, he's a long reliever right now. I get it. He's getting $25 million.
Springs, Rasmussen, Zach Eflin joining the rotation,
Eflin.
Josh Fleming. A lot of guys that are not household names, but they're good.
Okay.
I couldn't leave them out. No, that's fair. I want to ask.
I think the Rays are probably the best organization in all sports because they do more with less.
Fair.
And they make the playoffs, and they just can't ever win, because it's like what happens is they get to the playoffs and they try to manipulate rosters and they try to trick themselves, and they do that into the postseason. But when the postseason happens, they can't manipulate the roster, so sometimes they keep continually get caught. My starter goes 4 innings. I'm going to use bullpen. And they keep getting caught because guys get tired. We saw it in the 2020 World Series, right? Blake Snell's out there just shoving, and we take him out because it's 3rd time through, and they bring in their guys. Their guys are tired because they pitch every game. And that's why, the Rays are a great organization, but they always come up a little bit short.
They also ruin baseball because there's so many teams now that think they're going to be the Rays.
The Dodgers.
No, well, the Dodgers spend, though. I'm talking
The
about
Dodgers are the Rays
with money.
supersized.
Yes. But my point is there are like 5 to 7 teams now with their cheap owners going, we can be the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
We can spend nothing and I can profit more.
The
The
Rays.
Pirates want to be the Rays. The Orioles transitioned from saying we're the Astros, and now they want to be the Rays. And there are multiple other teams. Cleveland's got a little bit of Rays of the Midwest going for them right now. That's completely fair. But, I think the Reds want to do that. There's a number of ball clubs that suddenly say, hey, why do we need to spend
The Rays
$100+
do
million?
the best job in all of sports of finding what a guy does really well, exploiting it until they blow their arm out, and they're like, okay, on to the next guy. It's like they find a guy and they say, this guy has a really good slider. Like Matt Whistler, who I played with, and he went to the Rays and he threw 99% sliders. Right?
Mhm.
Slider. Oh, and then he couldn't do it anymore. And they're like, okay, we're gonna put you on waivers and find someone. The next guy will come in and throw 99% sliders. But they find that one thing that the guy does, and they pair him with somebody else. And like someone told me that Christian Bethancourt, who was a catcher, and then Mejia is the other catcher. One of them frames the high pitch really well, Bethancourt. So they use him when they have the high fastball thrower, and then Mejia frames the low pitch really well. So they use him when they have a sinker baller going.
That's brilliant.
That's things like that nobody thinks of.
That's very smart. Nick
So
Anderson, by the way. Remember him?
Yeah.
He was on top of the league.
Now, where is he now?
He's on a team. I just saw him pop up. I forget where he is. But
So
he's on a
He got hurt, and they stopped. But he had an invisible fastball on top of the zone.
team. Yep.
But I think the
Atlanta
Rays,
Braves, by the way, Nick Anderson made the opening day roster. Go ahead, Kratzy.
the Rays are the team that once I went to the Rays, the other teams that I talked to, they were the most, like, of all 14 organizations that I played for, they were the one that everybody asked, hey, what's different about them? So that's what AJ was saying is spot on. Like, they're changing how people view things. Now, what you were saying, Scott, about like the owner of the Orioles saying, oh, well, we want to be the Rays, like that's just a short arm comment. He doesn't want to get into his wallet, so we don't need to spend. But everybody, even the Yankees, want to know. They're like, well, the Rays get to do this. Why can't we do this?
No. They do it the Ray way, as that big sign says when you go down the.
Do it the Ray way.
Do it the Ray way, Joe Madden style. We used to make fun of them. Do it the Ray way, and then they kicked their ass in the 2008 playoffs. So, by the way, I'm going to get picks. I guess
We've been waiting.
My pick. You've been talking about Rays, so I'm going to go with Scott's Jays.
Thank you.
All right, wild card, right? I'm going to go with the Mariners. You're also your other team. And then I'm sorry. I know you guys are going to hate me, and I'm a homer, but I think the White Sox are going to make a wild card. I really do. I think there's enough talent there if they can stay healthy. And I know Moncada had back spasms yesterday, and everyone's like, it's already starting with them. But I think their rotation is better than people are going to give them credit for. They're going to get a full year out of Kopech. Lance Lynn is a stud. Dylan Cease is a stud. Their bullpen's going to be better. They're going to get the shot in the arm when Hendricks comes back from his cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Anderson's not going to be hurt all year. Andrew Vaughn moves to first base to replace Abreu. I think the outfield is more settled. Robert and Jimenez are going to get to play more. Benintendi's going to be a huge help, especially left-handed. Yasmani Grandal is in a contract year.
Mic drop.
That's fair. Who do you think?
I get it.
I'm just saying, it's amazing. Contract year. I'm in the best shape of my life. I worked out all winter. Contract year.
Okay.
Who do you think when we're talking about, watching the White Sox spray champagne because they made the playoffs at the end of the season? You're in there as the liaison of concierge services for the White Sox.
Yeah.
Who is going to be your first interview? Who is the reason the White Sox are going to be in the position? You mentioned all those things, but who is the reason?
Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson, I feel like, is going to take the next step and become a leader on that team for the position players and get some of these guys to, if you listen to the fans, we keep talking about the fans clamoring for stuff. Well, a lot of fans you talk to in the White Sox, they don't think that the guys play and they can play hurt. And I think Tim Anderson's going to be an example, and I think he's going to take that next step in leadership and get those guys out there. Jose Abreu was great, and he tried, didn't do it. So I think now it's Tim's team, and let's see what happens. I also like Kratzy. The White Sox made their roster. They finalized their roster yesterday, and they kept the guy off, Leori Garcia, who was the longest tenured. He has 2 more years left on his contract. And they
didn't
were
make the team?
They're saying he's not going to make the team. That is very non-White Sox move. Like, normally they're like, well, he's got 2 more years. We have to keep him because ownership in the front office says, well, we signed this guy. Well, they were like, you're not making the team. We're keeping Hanser Alberto instead. Well, okay. But that is not like the White Sox. Normally they keep the guys. I mean, and their bullpen is better than you think. I mean, Graveman's good. Bummer's good when healthy. You saw Ruiz in the World Baseball Classic, 100 mile an hour punching Trout's ticket left and right. I mean, they're pretty good.
No, I'm not.
I think people were just down because they were so bad last year.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they still won 81 games and they were terrible.
Yep. I'm not
But what is TA going to do? You're just saying he's going to be a leader. You're not saying he's going to have an MVP.
He's going to win the batting title.
Okay.
He's going to be a leader. They need a leader. They need somebody to step up and say, listen, dude, you need to play. And I think it's time for TA to take that next step, and I think this is the year he does it. He's been talking a lot. Now's the time to back it up.
So you have the Twins not making it,
Twins
obviously.
not making it.
The Rays.
The Rays are one of those. And here's the other thing about the White Sox. You saw the graphic. They're in the division with 2 really bad teams. So if they beat up on those teams, the Yankees, they don't have that. The Rays don't have that. The Rays have the Yankees.
Yes.
More
all these teams. Balance, though, remember, this year.
True, but still, he's still playing 15 times. So, the Orioles are not as bad as the Royals or the Tigers.
Correct.
Right? The Red Sox aren't that bad. Not even close, right? The Jays, the Yankees, the Rays, those are 5 teams.
I've said that in the past, and then still 3 teams come out of the AL East.
That's fine.
I'm just not going to get fooled again. That's all.
Okay. But then you look at even the West. Oakland's.
The West. The West has some.
Okay, Oakland's really bad, right?
Oakland is the worst team in the league.
Texas, you got to face DeGrom 5 times in a year. That's
Do you?
I mean, if he's healthy,
you're giving him 32 starts.
I'm just saying, maybe he lines up 5 times against Houston.
Right.
Or maybe he lines up 5 times against the Mariners. Right. I mean, they're not terrible.
You're right.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, so I think you can make. And the Angels, everyone just wants them to make the playoffs because of Ohtani and Trout.
None of us touch that, and many are going there again. And I'm.
But I just think the White Sox have, because they have those 2 really not good teams, they can chalk up some cheap wins. because everyone plays the same schedule now, so it changes things.
Mm-hmm. That was good. Let us know your thoughts. YouTube chat's been buzzing today. A lot of questions too. So it's slap hands time. Let me do my military base shout out today. Naval Station Great Lakes, home of the Navy's only current boot camp, located near North Chicago in Lake County, Illinois.
They do a Navy Day every day, or every year in Chicago, where they bring in the recruits.
Yep.
And they do it on the field at the White Sox, and they swear them in on the field. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We salute you. And AJ thinks that, for the White Sox fans out there, that you guys will be celebrating a little playoff action. So that's good. Kratz hats. What are you looking at your watch, Kratz? You got something to?
Yeah, I was looking to see if I got another. I was looking to see if I got another Slack message. We've been slamming the Slack today.
We have.
Anybody guess what this is?
That looks like Sega Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog going through one of those rings.
I was going to say some with Greece, like Team Greece, like Mount Olympus.
Those were coins on Sega Genesis, if you didn't know.
Mount Olympus.
Mount Olympus, you're exactly right. When I played in Greece, Omaha Storm Chasers was one of their extra hats. I don't know. I was there on rehab, so this is a brand new hat. Most of my hats are brand new, so if you see sweat on the hat, that means I was there for a while. I was taking BP in the middle of summer, but Omaha had some sneaky hats. They change uniforms. They sell them like the City Connects and everything.
Only one hat per customer, Kratz. You can't get more than one hat in the minor leagues.
You know what I found out? I found out the Yankees used to not sell their hats back in the 50s and 60s because they felt like hats were, if you had a Yankees hat, it was only for players. So they used to not sell them.
Yeah, and then they heard how much money they can make on hats.
Now you go to anywhere in the world, and there's a Yankee hat,
Yep,
a Dodger hat, and a Red Sox hat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are like the three you see no matter where you are in the world. You see one of those three almost every time.
You're right. A couple comments. YouTube chat buzzing all day. We appreciate you. OG Foul Territory fans. Brandon, I don't have Yes Network, but Yankees games on MLB today. Those might be fighting words, but it's how I'm watching it today. I'm in the St. Louis area waiting to see Jose talk to Clark. I think that was the question of the day. I think Kratzy was MVP today.
Where's Trevino hitting? And did Trevino go
probably what do you call it? Double cleanup?
Second cleanup.
Second cleanup.
Listen, you can make the All-Star game out of second cleanup. I know a guy that did it once.
He didn't send me. I told Jose to send me the video. Booney must have been firing guys, so he didn't send me a video. He sent me a picture of him and Higgy, his boo. So
he's hitting eighth. He's hitting second cleanup. He's hitting 320 though in the spring, and Stanton's hitting fourth. He should have switched him. Just saying, Booney. Just for one day.
Sports Kingdom's on my side. Blue Jays, are you kidding me? Bassett came to Toronto for a reason. Look, Toronto didn't need to add many players over the offseason. They're going to continue success from last season. Vlad's going to make a huge impact on the huge stage, MLB playoffs. And then I was going to try and mix in one question, but there's so many. I got to start copy pasting or something like this.
You use your glasses?
Yeah, I do need my glasses. Where are they? Oh, here they are.
He needs his music.
Here they are. Let's do this one today from Ed. Are fielders going to be able to call timeout, like for sunglasses, for contact issues, untied laces? What's the deal?
You're going to see a lot more of that too. Watch.
Of what? More of what?
Of not those glasses ever again. But of guys calling timeout, you're going to, you know what? I think you'll see that's a good way around the rules because they can start the pitch clock and the second base can be like, oh, timeout, my shoe's untied.
Safety concern.
Yep. Oh, man, my eye. I got a piece of dirt in my eye. Like
end of an NFL game.
It's a good
Everyone gets hurt. Like there are tons of injuries in the NFL, but at the end of the game, everyone gets hurt all the time.
It's a good way. I didn't think about that one around the pitch clock. Like Kratzy said, like, oh, the guy's going to start cramping up strangely.
What about an injury timeout? Like, hey, something doesn't feel great. Someone comes out for 5 minutes and then, okay, I'm good, actually. I'll stay. He'll stay in the game.
Yep. And you'll be like, you'll be like Paul Pierce. You're such a you're such a gamer. You stayed in. You got wheelchaired off, and then you came back.
Yeah.
Jose Trevino is going to have Garrett Cole out there for a complete game, 1-0, and he's going to have 6 cramps in the last inning because he's given Cole some extra time. He's down there like, and he's going to get a Pedialyte sponsorship, all that stuff.
I like it. Hey. You got to play. You got to play whatever you can. I mean, that's part of why the pitch clock is here in the first place, because people took advantage of rules. Oh, no clock.
Gamesmanship.
Screw it. I'm going to take a minute between each pitch. All right. Lastly, AJ is keeping track of how many birds' lives that he is going to save during the 2023 season or the 2023 year, because it already started. This is number 3. This is 3.
This is the third one.
Everybody
Ever since
else,
you moved
0.
in, we've had birds.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
it
you're
makes
for
sense.
the birds.
It makes sense. I am.
Yeah,
I think it has to do with you
today.
on Twitter.
That was 3 today, by the way.
Twitter's logo is a bird.
Yeah.
So I think your tweeting is causing a lot of chaos in Orlando.
In the bird world. That's a mourning dove, by the way. I was informed on Twitter
Mhm.
that is a mourning dove. So that's the third one I've had to catch and then wash my hands and keep from getting bird flu.
Bird whisperer. Is there a golfing thing we have for AJ too before we get out of here?
We got to show. Yeah, that's me in the water. Yeah,
In the water.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you came out of there with your 2 feet.
Nope.
Alligator didn't bite him off?
Nope. Not scared of alligators. Not scared of snakes. Yeah, that was member guest this weekend. Thank you, Phil Ming, inviting me. My golf game has suffered because of this show, but we'll get back to practicing once we go to 1 o'clock on Thursday, because I will be able to get up in the morning and get my gym time, get my golf time, and hopefully Scott will not be here when I wake up.
And shout out to Jeremy just now. In my brain was going, if I could play music off to get us out of here, it'd be literally this second. And we are so on the same page, which is perfect timing, because you need to be in mid-season form for the beginning of the season. Thursday, fresh time, but obviously we're back tomorrow too. Tuesday for FT Live. Plenty of big-time guests, big guests, including WBC manager Mark DeRosa.
Ooh.
Oh, it's going to be good with D-Row. We will see you on Tuesday. Thursday starts the 1 o'clock thing, and Friday, Fraser Friday, Kratz, me, and Todd all in the same spot. Ryan Helsley, closer for the St. Louis Cardinals, also joining us on a Tuesday FT Live. See you then.
Subscribe, please. If you like what you heard, Scott won't say it, so I'll say it.